Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Grizelda K. This is Grizzly True Crime and we are following the trial of Ronald Anthony Burgos-Aviles, a Border Patrol supervisory officer who has been charged with the murders of his girlfriend, Grizelda Hernandez. She was 27 at the time. He was also married at the time with 2 kids, by the way. He had told her that he's separated and all that. But he got his girlfriend pregnant and they had a baby, Dominic Hernandez, which is the second victim in this case as well. So, I know this is tiny. You're like, what is this? What is this? It's a little article I want to show you. I'm monitoring the court as well. So, what I wanted to say was I made a little purple heart that I can see someone's already using. They're small wildflowers. Thank you, thank you. And also, I'm going to tell you why now. Cute Things Addict. Why the little purple heart? Well, I was reading an article from KGNS TV, and they said that the family of the victims are wearing purple in court to show solidarity, to show togetherness, support. So even though at the vigils they were wearing white ribbons and we're sharing white ribbons to show them love and support, please also use the little purple heart so that they know we've got their back. Okay, so let me show you this quickly. I'll give you a quick preview here. Short recap if we can. I'm monitoring. They should be starting, on the hour, so maybe we've got 5 minutes or so. If you don't know anything about this case, I would highly suggest looking at the description box or there's a video that I did as full trial prep before we even started looking at this trial. So that would be very useful as well. Thank you for sharing all the purple hearts. Yes. Welcome to all my moderators. Thank you so much for everything you do. Moderators have the little wrenches next to their name and they help to keep the chat grizzly, as we say, which is kind and respectful, especially to the families and friends of the victims. And I say, and to the defendant, because I know it's hard for them too, right? So thank you so much, moderators. Welcome to all my patrons. And also welcome to all my members. And then everybody who's tuning in. There's a lot of new faces here. If you haven't yet subscribed, please make sure you do so that you don't miss out on the next live stream. The next one will be this afternoon session. We're doing a morning session. We take a lunch break when the court takes a lunch break, and then we come back for an afternoon session. So just in case you miss those notifications, make sure you subscribe with the bell on set to all. And when you see it pop up, remember to click notify me. Okay? All right. So let me quickly see this while I monitor the court. I'm looking at, I wish I had like 8 eyes. I've got 3 screens. I'm looking there. As soon as it comes on, I'll bring it over. But they say Laredo, Texas, former Border Patrol supervisor Ronald Anthony Burgos-Aviles is on trial for the alleged murder of Grizelda Hernandez, 27, and their 1-year-old son, Dominic Alexander. He was 18 months old on April 9th, 2018. The trial, which had been 5 years in the making, began with opening arguments. Inside the courtroom, family members of Grizelda and Dominic wore purple in a display of solidarity. Okay. I wish we had more of a view of the courtroom so we could see, but a purple. They previously wore white ribbons. Now we're going to share lots of purple hearts. So thank you so much. Maybe they're still wondering why they're showing. Why so many white ribbons though? That was 5 years ago. Okay, purple hearts. So 5 years in the making. A lot of people say, why the delay? Well, there was also the pandemic in between. That caused a lot of delays, and then the defendant himself tried to fire his attorney 3 times. He actually managed to fire to get a new one, to fire the one and get a new one. The new one being Eduardo Pena. The other one, I can't remember his name now. Got it written down here somewhere. Wait, Silverio Martinez. So there was a whole... It's a little bit reminded me of Letitia when I read all that. Yes, and so, I don't know, between that and all the motions filed and his team saying that the death penalty need not be on the table, and they're saying, oh, this is very much a death penalty case, and all of that caused a lot of delays. Yes. Okay, so inside the courtroom, family members wore of Grizelda Nomic purple in display of solidarity. More than 20 witnesses were given instruction by presiding 49th District Court Judge Joe Lopez. Among the witnesses set to testify are law enforcement members, including Border Patrol agents, Laredo police investigators, friends and family members of the victim. And today, I'm very excited to see what those phone results are going to be, the forensic searches of the phones, the data downloads, because there we can probably glean a lot from that. The witness that we last saw yesterday was Juan Ruiz, a Laredo Police Department investigator, and he had looked at the USBs and the phones. There were 2 cell phones that belonged to the victim. One was hers and one was for the baby to play games on and things like that. So yes, I'm excited to see what did they extract from that. Yesterday we saw some ring cam footage. I put some timestamps in yesterday's stream. If you didn't see that, I did that this morning, okay, first thing. And I will update it again later because I've also made sure to trim out lots of fluff, because the streams are quite long sometimes when we're waiting like now for court. So I always make sure that it's really nice for replay viewers, just letting you know if you are brand new here. All right. So then they say Burgos-Aviles, dressed in a black suit, sat at the defendant's table with his attorneys. Judge Lopez read the charges against the 9-year Border Patrol veteran, while one of his defense attorneys, Eddie, oh yeah, they're saying Eddie, Eduardo Pena, entered a not guilty plea on his behalf. Webb County District Attorney Isidro Chilo Alanis presented the prosecution's case in chronological order to the predominantly female jury. They see they're giving us lots of little bits of information here. Alanis described Burgos as a danger within and alleged that he had planned to lure his secret lover and child to a secluded area near the Father McNaboe Park. Alanis claimed that Burgos intended to use his skill set as a Border Patrol agent to cover up the crime. Well, yeah, we saw some of that. It seems so. The prosecution argued that Burgos staged the scene to make it appear as though smugglers had attacked the victims, but photo evidence, Alanis stated, would prove otherwise. Okay. So, according to the prosecution, Burgos lay in wait in his government-issued truck, planning to surprise the victims. The prosecution states that between 9:45 a.m. and 10:10 a.m. on the day of the murders, Burgos stabbed Grizelda 27 times in the head, face, shoulders, back, arms, ears, leaving her unrecognizable. The prosecution continued, stating that Burgos then turned his attention to baby Dominic, taking him out of the stroller and into the brush by the riverbanks. The prosecution hypothesized that Burgos covered the baby's face with his shirt before fatally stabbing him. His shirt had a Baby Yoda on. Grogu, is that the name? That little Baby Yoda. And it said, "Lucky am I" on his shirt, which is why we've got that little emoji as well. To show love and support to all of Dominic's family. This is just to think that this guy, he picked his son out of a stroller, and his son looked so much like his son. He had 2 sons with his wife, and they compared baby photos. They look so alike. So for him to pick him up and carry him elsewhere and do what he did is, my gosh. Okay. Blue Monkey says Eddie or Eggy? Eddie, like Eduardo, Eddie. Yeah, but I get what you mean, not Eggy. Eddie, yes, okay. So, oh man, Amber Gloria says, my boyfriend is so angry about this case, he's going to make a profile afterwards so he can participate in the chat. Nice, okay. Welcome to him. Bring your hubbies along. Aria Dakota, welcome to membership. So, they say okay, let's continue on from there. Alanis emphasized that the baby did not die from the initial wounds, but rather from a final slash to the neck. The prosecution revealed that although they did not possess the murder weapon, they had evidence suggesting that Burgos panicked and made mistakes during the attempted cover-up. Burgos allegedly took the victim's cell phones and placed them in his truck, along with a belt keeper that had blood droplets on it. Oh yes, and he forgot that he had those telephones in there. He's like, telefono, when he was talking to the police. Oh yeah, busted. The prosecution also highlighted a motive for the alleged murders: child support payments. I wonder exactly how much that would be. Like, for this guy to do all this, whoa. Dude, to avoid child support payments. Grizelda, a college student studying nursing, was portrayed by Alanis as someone who struggled financially and initiated the child support process 2 years after the baby was born in 2016. Prosecutors shed light on a secret affair that had developed in 2015 between Grizelda and Burgos, who went by the name Anthony at the time. Burgos was married with 2 children, engaged in a friends with benefits style relationship with Hernandez, according to the prosecution. In March 2018, Hernandez initiated the child support process. Think of that, March 2018. April 9th, murdered. And baby Dominic. Serving Burgos with legal papers in March 2018. Tina, thank you so much. You say, towards Salmon for Fury. Love your worksheet. Thank you so much. He's so spoiled. But we love him. Thank you so much. And Kimberly, thank you so much for your $2 super chat as well. Paula Street says lots of mistakes. Oh, yes. And Teria says he didn't want his wife to find out. I agree. I think it was about child support payments, but I think it was also more about reputation, right? For him. Like, it sounds a bit narcissistic of him. Just like, oh, no, I don't want this to affect my work. Or like, I don't want my wife to find out. And his wife sounds kick-ass, like a badass lady in a good way. I mean, badass, like super successful, like she will kick his ass. He's probably scared of her. Jeannie, thank you for upgrading your membership. All right, I'm still monitoring. They haven't started yet. So let's go here. During the trial, the prosecution revealed that Burgos displayed a sudden interest in meeting Dominic and establishing a relationship with him. Hernandez highlighted an ominous text message sent by Burgos to Grizelda stating, "In a few weeks, you do not want to be my friend," which, according to Hernandez, exemplified Burgos' mindset when he encountered the pair at Winfield Park in late March 2018. According to the prosecution's account, a significant incident occurred at the park. After briefly introducing Dominic to his father and leaving him in Burgos' care while she went to her car, Grizelda returned to find the baby crying hysterically. This was on March 25th, okay? Upon closer examination, Grizelda discovered a small wound on Dominic's thigh. Concerned, she and Dominic rushed to her sister, a registered nurse, for further inspection. Initially believed to be a spider or insect bite, the prosecution argued that this was a misdiagnosis. In reality, they claimed that the wound resulted from a 14 to 18 gauge needle that had been inserted into baby Dominic. Prosecutors alleged that the needle was subsequently found in Burgos' lunchbox. Angela, thank you so much for becoming a member. Olivia said, did he put poison in Dominic's leg, or was he trying to put it into a vein? I mean, if he was trying to put it in a vein, I think he hit the wrong spot, but in his leg. Right outer thigh. Carolee Carter, thank you so much for your $2 super sticker. Alright. Still monitoring. Let's see. So then they say, following the prosecution's opening statement, the defense presented its perspective. Burgos' attorney, Eddie Pena, argued that the alleged crimes were an aberration in Burgos' otherwise law-abiding life. Pena stressed that his client faced the death penalty and urged the jury to scrutinize the evidence carefully. After both sides made their opening remarks, a short break was taken before the first witness, Angelica Hernandez, Grizelda's sister, took the stand. Angelica testified about the relationship between Burgos and Grizelda, their online meeting, the pregnancy, and the difficulties that Grizelda faced in supporting Dominic, which made her begin the child support out of necessity. It's a good recap article, this one, yes? Okay. Alright. Oh, hold on 1 second. I'm just checking that everything is fine here. Wait. One more court. Yeah, still haven't started. Crafty Florida lady? FLA lady? Do we know if they are still married? I'm not clear on that. Thank you for your $10 super sticker. I'm not too sure on that. Yesterday the question got asked as well all day. I'm not 100% sure. Some say they got divorced, some say they separated, some say they're still married, so I don't know. Until I know an actual fact about the status of their relationship, I can't say. All I can see is that she had moved. She left the area. She moved to Florida. I think it was Jacksonville, Florida. She's working there. I would doubt that she's still married to him, based on everything that I've read about her. Rachel Boys, thank you for your New Zealand. You're from New Zealand. $4 super sticker and coffee. Thank you so much. And Granny Plum, welcome to membership. So Angelica recounted the spider bite incident, testifying that she noticed something amiss when she inspected Dominic and asked her sister if the baby had received any necessary vaccinations. Grizelda denied having taken Dominic for any shots. Concerned, Angelica observed that the affected area turned black and was accompanied by bleeding, so necrosis. Realizing the severity of the situation, she suggested that she immediately go to the emergency room. Medical personnel documented the injury by taking photographs. Okay, the court is coming on. As soon as the sound is on, I'll bring it over. So don't panic. I'm watching it. We got it, okay? In fact, I'll probably bring it over so that you don't panic. Just hold on. Lisa, thank you for becoming a member. And Floating Lotus, thank you for your £3 super sticker. So give me a chance. Hold on 1 second. I'll bring it over for you, and we'll make sure that we boost it. I'll rather bring it over and continue reading to you as we watch. Let's just boost it here. Yes, okay. So see, yeah, this one is good. Okay. So we've got it like this. I knew not to start too early today. We know the pattern by now. I'm gonna make myself smaller. Okay, so studied casual says, pretty sure they will not know what he injected unless he confesses. He said there were, yeah, they said, the medical examiner, there were thousands of possibilities. Queen Bella says the wife has done a great job avoiding being exposed from the press, etc. Right? Yes, okay. So this, we're waiting over here. Where's the other? Oh, let me just quickly get that image ready as well. Shame, this baby, oh my word. So cute. Okay, I'm just going to get this picture for you so we can have it up there as well. So, Angelica testified that her nephew underwent a significant transformation following the incident. Previously a cheerful and active child, Dominic became plagued by pain and fear, walking with a noticeable limp, she stated. Providing insight into the day of the murders, Angelica shared that she had seen her sister shortly before they went to the park to meet Burgos. Later, she attempted to contact Grizelda but was unable to reach her, despite expecting her sister to pick her up before lunchtime. This raised concerns and led Angelica to suspect that something was wrong. Sharon, welcome to membership, and Carlene, Andrea, good morning. Thank you, Sharon, for becoming a member. We'll have a members-only stream again soon. Normally when it's trial time like this, we have it towards the end of the week or on the weekend, so that I have a full snark tank and also full energy tank. So we want lots of energy to snark it up. Okay, those fears were confirmed. Let me just read that sentence again in case you missed it. This raised concerns and led to Angelica to suspect that something was wrong. Those fears were confirmed when an investigator contacted Angelica, delivering the devastating news. Yes. Amber Gloria says, after the shenanigans the defense pulled yesterday, the judge isn't having it anymore. I did not like what they did to Agent Lara. Right? That was, wow, what a day that was yesterday. I mean, they try to impeach the witnesses. If you missed it, you got to go see the replay, okay? Everything's timestamped for you. They tried to impeach the witnesses even from the day before. Their strategy seems to be impeach or mistrial. And then when a Border Patrol agent testified, Agent Lara, and got really emotional, yeah, they were like, okay, we're fighting for a mistrial. Wow. Loba Vulcana, do you remember the case of Henry Segura, a man convicted to life for his killing his girlfriend, or he was also married, and 3 kids, one being his, the motive being not wanting to pay child support? I don't, but I will look into it. Thank you so much. Okay, the court sign is not yet on. Now it's on. Oh, it was on for a second. Something about the jury. Let me have a sip of water. Welcome to day 3, the morning session of this trial. This trial is about Ronald Anthony Burgos-Aviles. He's the defendant, 33 years old now. He was 28 at the time of the crime. And he's facing the death penalty for the murders of Grizelda Hernandez, 27. She was 27 years old. And their son, baby Dominic Hernandez. He was 18 months old. Blue Monkey says, he did such a sloppy job. How did he possibly think he would get away with it? I don't know. We asked that many times of criminals that make the dumb criminal list, right? Like how? His plan was so not smart. I just wonder if that was his plan or if he had a different plan. And then, because he was seen rushing back, and Agent Dennison was like, what are you doing? He's like, just exploring. Maybe he realized, oh man, people are starting to... They see me. They see me in the truck. I've been spotted. Maybe then his plan fell apart.
We've had the property officer coming in every morning, and thus far it doesn't seem like we're having any issues with regards to the chain of custody and bringing property in that way.
Okay.
I know it's up to the defense, and so what we would like to know is if they intend on objecting to that, so that we can just have everything conditionally. I have not, but I know this was something we had addressed pre-trial, and it has. I don't think.
I'm not sure I addressed it pre-trial.
You had said that if everything was conditionally admitted, that we could find a place.
I don't think I said it on the record pre-trial. I think it was something that was informally asked of me, and I said, well, I guess you could, but otherwise you're going to have to,
Well, I guess.
bring him, unless you all. And then I said they should talk to them to see if they're okay with the way they're doing it. I'm not sure.
Eduardo.
I mean, obviously.
Are we supposed to be hearing this?
Throughout the years, things sort of change in the way of evidence was brought in from PD, and I mean I think I've gone through the gamut of it while I've been on the bench and as a former prosecutor. But we've seen the guy from the PD evidence custodian come in with the huge boxes, and we go through the whole gamut of this is it, and he opens it, and where'd you get it from, and you get you have everybody come in with their exhibit tags, and they say, well,
Zooming into him again.
here, and
You're
all
not
that
supposed
gamut
to.
of that, and I think at the end, I don't think throughout all the trials that we've had, we ever had anybody with a problem with that sort of situation. I don't think I had a chain of custody issue ever with any of that. Doesn't mean that it hadn't happened. I'm sure it had at some point.
The judge is on fire today already.
Was that really in another case, not this case? Was that really the gun? Was that really the casing? Was that really X? Whatever it was. I don't think, from what I've heard in pretrial matters and whatnot, I don't think there's been an issue to that. But it doesn't mean that something won't come up. So the only way to know that is if you ask.
Yes.
So, Mr. Peña, what's y'all's position with regard to that?
We can probably stipulate to the predicate for admissibility, Runner. We'll just like to get a look at what they intended to use before we stipulate.
So in other words, you won't have, you don't suspect that you'll have any objection to the in fact, you're saying you can stipulate to the admissibility of the what? Of the
physical evidence that they want to bring in.
Oh, man.
Right, you just don't want it just to be blurted out. You want to see it before it actually comes in.
Right.
Before it's actually formally admitted.
That's correct.
All right.
And that's fair.
All right, very
So,
good.
with that being said, Your Honor, is there a place under lock and key that property could leave all the physical evidence?
The holding cell, but I mean, we don't have any other place. Well, we have a safe.
Depends.
I don't know if it's going to fit in the safes.
But we have a big safe.
Oh, okay.
It's a big gun safe, a rifle safe. How big
What is
is
the
it?
problem now? Defense. Now that we don't want that evidence
I don't know
brought
how
in,
much-
or what? Is that what we're hearing?
One of the rooms out front, in between the main hallway. could
Well, I
have-
mean, does it fit? How many bankers boxes is it? Does it say?
I think it's about.
Oh, this is a
13.
cool view. Now we can see from ground
16?
level.
13.
So 16 or 13 doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah. I said I had a safe. I didn't have a Fort Knox safe. It was just one safe. No, I don't have anywhere you can. I mean, at the Zapata courtroom has a holding cell in the work area for some reason of the 49th, and we used to hold stuff there, but there was nobody going in there.
Right.
And the only person that had the key was the bailiff. I suspect that
Sorry.
we don't have a place like that here, so
No, that's
I don't.
fair.
The
I mean,
what it's going to entail is having your guy go back and forth with it, and it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. From Christine.
I mean, if there's no
100
place, Your Honor,
ways to
we'll
be a
just
snake.
Well,
continue with
and
how
then
we've
when
been doing it.
I guess when I said conditionally admitted, I mean, well, we can leave it here conditionally admitted if there's no objection to the conditional admission, subject to it being presented to them and they're being able to offer an objection to it, and then the court would take a look at that admission at that particular moment again, and then I could decide at that moment it doesn't come in. And then if we do it that way, then we can leave it here.
I think they're arguing
What's your
about the
thoughts
evidence.
on that, Mr. Peña?
I don't know if it's the USB sticks or
All right.
if it's the phone.
So then we can conditionally, just give me the number, go with them right now with, maybe not right now, but throughout this morning, since he's already here anyways, you can just keep him here.
Okay.
With regard to what it is that, a list of the things that you have in there so that they can conditionally agree to that admission, subject to their ability to object to it when it finally comes in with a particular witness.
Judge snark.
Is that good?
The list will be very helpful, Ron. We can get a list of the.
Yes. So let's do that.
Yeah, they're talking about where to store the evidence.
Can you get that list?
Yes, Your Honor. We
Okay.
have one already.
And it
Very
seems
good.
like it's because Eduardo here, he wants it stored and brought
So if we can
in
get a copy of that for
and
defense
out
counsel.
properly. I don't know.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, get them a clean version throughout the morning, and then we'll take it from there. All right.
Yeah, and also, the court had asked us to advise you when we believed we were going to bring Masters' first name is
Andrew
Masters, because the defense had asked to get some advance notice because of the hearing that they would like to request, and we do believe he will be testifying either Thursday, either tomorrow afternoon or Friday, and we do understand that they want to have a hearing before that.
That's the cell tower site analysis.
Oh, my word.
Okay.
They're making it so difficult.
So then we would have to have the hearing with him maybe tomorrow after lunch. We could have a hearing.
We have an expert witness that we would like to present his testimony by Zoom. He will testify to the lack of reliability of historical cell phone data analysis.
I think the state would object to a defense witness during a Daubert hearing. I don't think that's the standard. I believe the only thing they can do at this point is voir dire our expert and see whether or not his testimony, he's an expert, he's qualified, and if the science is reliable.
Well, that's the difference. If it's going to be
What a trial.
a voir dire hearing, that's one thing. But if it's a Daubert challenge, that's a different thing, because a Daubert challenge can be challenged with affidavits from other experts, testimony from other experts, and whatnot. In fact, sometimes I've had exactly that. You know, Daubert challenges with just with and again in civil cases, but there is no Daubert inside a code criminal procedure. There is it dealt with the civil rules, but because it doesn't address it in the criminal rules, and we use the civil rules for it. But in any event.
Imagine this back and
What we normally have in a criminal proceeding is a voir dire challenge of the witness, and then the witness would then be asked questions at that point. I don't know what your motion actually has, whether it just talks about having the ability to, and I forget what that's called, but there's a particular name for it.
Basically contesting the reliability of the methodology.
Right. No, what I'm talking about is normally you just voir dire in a criminal trial, you have the ability under statute to cross-examine or to voir dire the expert on those issues, reliability and relevance and qualifications, which in fact are the three major categories of a Daubert challenge anyways, right?
Daubert.
The difference is that when you do a Daubert challenge, which is a motion to strike basically to expert witness, either in its entirety or
So
a
instead
portion of his...
Instead of impeaching, now they're going with a Daubert standard.
opinion is is
Yeah,
normally
I've got it
done
here.
ahead of time, but
Yeah, yeah.
I have done them during the course of a trial, both in criminal cases and in
defense.
civil cases. So you're saying basically it shouldn't be treated as a Daubert challenge. It should be treated more as what the statute calls for, which is the voir dire examination
And then-
of the particular expert.
Correct. And then ultimately, at
And-
the end of it,
and-
a battle of experts.
And what I would like for you all to do from here to that point is to, in fact, enlighten me with the rules on that, as opposed to each other's opinions. Thank you.
We'll do your honor.
Oh, man. So the family's wearing purple in court, apparently, from an article I just read. I can't see it. Can you see it? I can't see it. But they're apparently wearing purple in court to show solidarity. So we are now also showing purple hearts. We're still using the white ribbons and the Yoda. There's Grizelda's sister and family. I don't see the purple. But anyway, we're gonna be showing purple hearts, white ribbons, and the Yoda to show them we got their back. Okay. Oh, Eduardo, he never fails to come up with something. I mean, it is his job, but damn. It's like impeach. Okay, mistrial. Now we're going for the Daubert standard, which I looked up. What is that? Remember, I'm not a lawyer. Are you? Some of you might be, actually. So, now, let me know if you've got legal experience, if I'm saying the right thing, but this is what I've looked up. The Daubert standard is a rule of evidence regarding the admissibility of expert witness testimony. So, we're all excited for the witness Juan Ruiz from the Laredo Police Department, and for all, for all the investigations they did relating to the phones and the cell towers, the Google searches and all that. And Eduardo's already come up with a plan to be like, you know what? Daubert standard, that's not admissible. No, it's almost like, I think, if I'm getting it correct, he's kind of like, that's junk science, just chuck that out now. So it's making a delay. Now, the thing I worry about is Eduardo and the defense team are making us all very tired. So everybody, the prosecution team, they better be on high alert. I'm sure they are. Because the more tired people get, just now they do get a mistrial with all these tricks they're trying. You know what I mean? They're really trying everything. Wow. So I really, hope everyone stays hyper vigilant. And that they sort this out. Iron out all the creases as Eduardo and team make creases for their client, right? Johnny DeSant says, Eduardo making up ish. And yesterday, Johnny, you were like, Eduardo got so excited. He was so excited about that mistrial moment, right? And then the judge denied it. Wildfire says, usually done before the trial even begins. I know, right? Yeah, Chopper's like, technology, she died from violence. And they were even, they were arguing the insect bite versus the injection. They argue everything. I know it's their job. They have to do it. What else do they have? Everything's pointing at this defendant. So it just feels very like low blow, right? It just to be like, you know what? We're going to make your job as hard as possible, prosecution. That's what it feels like. So yeah, the Daubert standard, Daubert standard, a rule of evidence regarding the admissibility of expert witness testimony. A party may raise a Daubert motion, a special motion in limine, raised before or during trial, so they can do it during trial, to exclude the presentation of unqualified evidence to the jury. The Daubert trilogy are the 3 United States Supreme Court cases that articulated the Daubert standard. Oh, okay. T and Wildflower says the defensive strategy is impeach, Daubert challenge, object, call for a mistrial, and question the historical cell phone data. Yes, exactly. 4 Wise Monkeys, welcome to membership. Yes. Again, or make sure you refresh your chat. Then it should be there. Yes. Yeah, Pam Ronning says the defense is required to give him the best trial they can. We just wish it was a stronger defense, right? But what do they have? What do they Wonder how they could do that. Well, there's a few things I could think of along the way. Even with like Agent Lara saying that he was there as well, you know, and but by coincidence. I thought the defense would go after that. Like, wait, so you were there by coincidence? What were you really doing lingering around there, Agent Lara? One would think they could create some doubt by questioning him that way and saying, oh, really? So you had a glove that you took off that had the victim's blood on and you just so happened to drop it on the ground, pick it up and put it in the back of Burgos-Aviles' truck, huh? You see, that type of thing. I think that could create some doubt. I don't know. That's a little less lame, in my opinion. But who am I to judge, right? Dandy Lioness, thank you for sharing the purple hearts. Synonymous says, do they even want to defend this guy? Well, they've been waiting 5 years. Waiting 5 years for this. Generally, Jenny, thank you for being a member for 7 months. Donald Payne says, the defense wasting time and taxpayer dollars. Yes. Okay. So, let's continue on with what I was reading to you. Wait, where is it now? There we go. We're busy with the recap. So, what I'm going to do is what I did before. Let's put this one over here. Monitor the situation. We were just busy going over this. And we resize for you so you can see a little bit better. So this, we just started at the beginning of the stream so that we could just go over a recap of what we've seen so far. India, thank you for being a member for 5 months, and Doodle Mom for 6 months. A.L. says, thanks for all your hard work. Grizzle on. Grizzle on, everyone. Grizzle on. So, we were talking about Grizelda's sister, Angelica, testifying, and about the spider bite and all that. And as I continue on, I can see the judge's head, so I don't know if they're coming back now. Probably. Well, I don't want to start.
We had, sorry for that interruption, we had the grand jury that had been in term for the last 6 months that was leaving. I was giving them their certificates and thanking them for their service, and they're out. So we got the grand jury coming out and the jury coming into this court. So
Never mind.
we'll be here. We'll get started.
We'll be here and we'll get started. Yay! Yeah, this is the view we got right now of the judge. Anyway, we can always recap again later. If you want a full, quick recap, just read the description box. Okay? Always put things for you there so you can just catch up if you haven't been following the trial. It's Sam, thanks for being a member for 7 months. Oh, damn. Audrey, 20 months. Oh, gee. Thank you so much. Yes, Maxi Doodle says, I feel like prosecution can rest now, and with a great cross during the defense portion. Evil one would still be found guilty. Did you guys see yesterday how he smiled? He was like, smiling and waving, almost like, ooh, bestie, to the one witness, who was also a border patrol agent, and his neighbor, who caught him on camera. Just really his feet, wearing the shorts and the tennies, shorts and the tennis shoes. Yes. That was quite a moment. That's also timestamp for you if you haven't seen it from yesterday.
Please have a seat. Thank you. Good morning, members of the jury and alternates. We're ready to begin.
Yes, Your
Mr. Elizondo, call your first witness.
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Elizabeth Stevens to the stand.
All right.
Elizabeth Stevenson. What? Elizabeth? What did Stevens? I'll rather just say Elizabeth until we know. Okay, I just want to see if I can get the name here.
Your Honor, this witness was not previously sworn in, so...
All right, thank you. Stevenson?
Stevenson, okay.
She's going to come in through Zoom or something?
No, Your Honor, she's here in person.
Did she not know she was the first witness? She's still in your office, apparently.
Oh, the judge is he's getting tired of this. I don't blame him. His patience, it's running out. Thank you all for being here, watching this trial with me. I really enjoy watching it with you, and I hope you enjoyed here too. Ah, Algoma, you say hooray, 1 year of membership. I love it here. Thank you so much, Algoma. Hey, Heinemann. Grand jury get certificates? Is it meant to be framed? I don't know. I love certificates. Can I get one? Actually, we'll get one. We are gonna. I put that normally on Patreon, huh? Certificates. We had a Letitia Stark one. Yes. On Patreon. Tiki Juan. Crystal, welcome to membership. So we'll have one for going through this trial together too. I did, Michelle. I did get plenty of rest.
We have a list of witnesses. We'll have them staged and ready to go. So this won't happen again.
Yes, defendant. Look at defendant. His resting punk face. Janet, welcome to membership. Ms. Zippy, thanks for being a member for 6 months and saying thank you for covering this, G. Thank you all for being here to watch it with me. Okay, first witness, Elizabeth Stevenson. Kel Bell says, I have my LA certificate. Some people did frame it and put it up at work,
Yeah.
yes?
Good morning. Your name?
Lisa Stevens. Elizabeth Stevens.
Elizabeth Stevens.
Correct.
Good morning. Please raise your hand and be sworn.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please have a seat right over here. Pull up your chair and get comfortable and start questions. Just enough so that we can get your... Yes,
The microphone's already doing its thing. Let's hope that improves. Yes, Judge is like, what? I know, Judge, what is that noise?
Procedure, Honor.
Mr. Boggs, are you going to try and get back in, or?
I'm trying.
One second. There it is. All right. Thank you. Go ahead.
All right. And just for the record, this is ADA Daniel Lizondo doing the direct examination. Good morning, Ms. Stevens.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Very good. Could you please, for the record, state your complete name?
Elizabeth Mary Stevens.
And Stevens, could you spell that for the court reporter, please?
Stephenes.
Oh,
Thank you.
PH, okay.
How are you currently employed, Ms. Stevens?
I'm recently retired from Motorola Solutions.
Okay. And obviously, you said you recently retired from Motorola Solutions, so before that you were at Motorola?
Yes.
And what was your position at Motorola?
Principal staff engineer, software.
Okay. And how long had you been working at Motorola in that position?
Principal stuff.
I've been at Motorola for 38 years, and in that position generally for almost 30 of those years.
30. Okay. And what were your duties as the principal staff engineer?
I worked with the development team of Astro subscriber products, and basically working on specifically the products that have already been released to a customer. And so we would handle any issues with the product that
This trial is so
the
not
call
boring,
center
though.
could not resolve. So if there was either an issue or something that the radio was doing that the customer complained about, or that wasn't configured correctly, or that they needed more information about, we would investigate. So we would work with the customer directly to try to understand their complaint, reproduce their complaint if it wasn't just an understanding issue. And we would find out whether it was a problem with the system, with the configuration of the radio, or in some cases we would actually have to resolve the issue with a software change in the product itself, or
I want to
create
stop
an
you right there very
enhancement.
briefly.
Sure.
You keep mentioning product and customers. What kind of product are we talking about?
We're talking about
The
radios that either go into a vehicle to communicate with, a dispatch center, things like that, or between radio to radio with other people on the team, group calls, individual calls, as well as data, whatever data services that they used on that system.
Okay. And with regards to customers, was the United States Customs and Border Protection a customer of Motorola at that time that you serviced?
Yes,
Whose phone is
And this was back in 2018 as well?
yes, they were.
Okay. Could you please tell the jury a little bit about your educational background, any degrees or trainings or experience that you have with working with these types of products and so on and so forth?
Sure. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in the Department of Computer and Information Sciences, and that's a 4-year degree. And after graduating, I did start working at Motorola after one other job, but it was pretty soon after graduated that I started working at Motorola. Motorola provided a lot of training. Mostly on the job training specific to the products we developed. Also,
She doesn't look very enthused to be here.
things like C++, object-oriented programming, all of the skills sets that evolved as I continued to work there.
And C++, is that a code writing? Is that what that is?
It's a programming language that is used extensively in our products.
Okay. And at Motorola, did you ever conduct data extractions of your customers' products, being the mobile radios?
Yes, because, like I said, we worked on, customer complaints, so we had to collect data out of radios while they're operating or post complaint as well. So you'd have to, we knew how the data was stored in radios, so we had, because we did a lot of that programming ourselves, so the people that developed the memory management of the computer devices inside the radio would also develop tools that would access that data.
Okay. Can I ask you to just pull the mic a little bit closer to you?
I also don't know what
How's
those,
that?
Just a
what
little
the
bit
other
more.
pins are.
Thank
I'm
you.
not sure, you
Alright.
guys.
Okay. So with regards to, doing these investigations into customer complaints and extracting the data, how many times would you say you've done an extraction of a Motorola mobile radio?
It's a countless number. I would do it on a daily basis.
On a daily basis?
Well, I mean, for any particular customer complaint, I was probably either collecting data while the radio is running or extracting data that is already residing in the radio.
Okay. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the Motorola mobile radios. What are these radios used for?
They're used for communication, voice and data communication between people out in the field in their vehicles or on their person, with a dispatch center usually, or between each other. And so it's a communication device for voice and data applications.
Okay. And do these radios and these devices, do they store GPS data?
They do.
Okay.
They all contain a GPS device.
All right. And before I get into that data, I want to briefly cover GPS. Can you kind of explain a little bit in layman's terms how GPS works?
Sure. GPS, or Global Positioning System, has two major parts to get a coordinate. So one of the parts is the satellites, of course, and so there's satellites that have known orbits around the Earth. There's, a number of them in the system. And at any one time, covering, any part of the world, there's at least
Walkie-talkies
4. That's the plan. That's the configuration of these satellites. There's at least 4 visible satellites at every location on the Earth. So the job of those satellites is to transmit information, and they're very precisely coordinated. They use atomic clocks, all of them, to synchronize their transmissions. So they're the transmitting units in the system. All of the GPS devices or chips in your devices, like a cell phone or all of Motorola's radios, they are receiving. They're not transmitting anything for the GPS purposes. They're all listening to those satellites. They know where, they know how to listen to every one of those satellites. It's all, pre-configured or known to the devices. They all so they all have along with the transmitted information about where the satellite is in its orbit and its timing information, the devices are able to, basically use mathematics. If they can see 4 satellites, they can determine the distance to each one of those satellites.
At the sky.
And
the data they've got on him.
Through math, they can figure out the unknowns, which would be your longitude, latitude, altitude, and as well as the exact time from that transmission. So that transmission arrives at the radio or at the GPS chip in the radio, and from there it's up to the chip itself to determine those coordinates.
So in essence, then, like you said, there's about 4 satellites at any given time, at least 4, transmitting data that the GPS chip inside of a device would collect, and based off of that transmission data and the information it gathers and the mathematics it uses, it can determine where it is on Earth.
On the Earth, yes.
Okay. And how reliable is GPS?
It's in open sky. It's very reliable. It does depend on your receiver. You have to have a good receiver, and you need to have a clear signal to the satellites.
Okay. So, with regards to the Motorola GPS, or with regards to the Motorola mobile radios, how is it that they gather and store this GPS data?
It depends on the features that are enabled in the radio. The customer that we're talking about didn't use any location features. So the only one that was available to the radio itself is a power down location. So Motorola, for its own device, uses that information so that when it powers back up again, it can get a lock faster. Okay. So Motorola devices store that shutdown coordinates and time at the time that the radio is shut down, probably when the vehicle is stopped and turned off. Okay. So that value is stored.
Okay, and you said
if it's accurate.
Okay, and with regards to you had mentioned this particular customer. Are you referring to the United States Customs and Border Protection?
Yes.
So the only function and feature that they had on their device was that the GPS that the mobile radio would store GPS data when the device turned off.
Yes.
Okay. And are there any, you had mentioned at the very end that it would store this data if it was accurate. What do you mean by that?
Well, the device, the GPS device itself, has criteria. You know, it has to have enough satellites to do its job, and it does know something about the signal quality as well. So if it deems the signal usable to some, parameters, it will report it to the Motorola device. The Motorola device then applies its own criteria on top of that to determine whether the signal had the quality that is required to make it a useful waypoint to store. It might be have been a useful coordinate to use for a mapping system that's getting updates all the time and things like that. But to store it on the shutdown, we would want a useful coordinate for the purpose of speeding up the lock on power
tie
up.
on as well.
Okay. So in essence then, before it stores this data, you would say it goes through a filtration system to make sure that it is a useful, accurate, and reliable source.
Yes, based on quality of the signal.
And it does that 2 times.
Yes, I mean the GPS device itself is doing that basically to get a good fix and report it, and then the Motorola software that's written to act on that GPS data also looks at some quality criteria.
Okay. So I want to, actually now,
It sucks that this Border Patrol did not have the GPS feature fully activated. That would have been so interesting. Oh, the gloves are coming on, you guys. Vanessa, she's a very credible witness. I agree. Yes, Barbara Jean, purple tie. I'm not sure why are people being mean to her. Could we not do that? Could we not? To me, she's not hard to follow. I'm married to a coder. She's making a lot of sense. She's a smart lady.
before that, permission to approach the witness, Your Honor.
Yes. Pampered Glamper says, I'll bet Border Patrol's
Approach.
using location now.
The witness. Sorry.
Thank you, Ruzer62.
Now showing you what's been previously marked as States Exhibit 269. I'm sorry, 296, 297, 298,
Okay.
and 299. Are you familiar with these items?
Yes,
What is it?
it is the customer APX 7500 radio.
And how are you familiar with this APX 7500 radio?
It was brought to the Motorola facility where I was working, and I extracted data from it.
Berenice Rivas. Look at your cat. Cute. Thank you for your $10 super sticker. Oh, Eduardo is reviewing.
Are you offering, Mr.
I believe they've already been admitted. I just wanted to let the defense know what I was
All right.
referring to.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Sophia, it wasn't even lunchtime, right? But yes, he didn't have the uniform on. For unknown reasons.
Is this the radio that you conducted an examination and extracted data from?
Yes, it is.
Oh, damn, okay.
Permission to approach the witness again.
There it is.
Now showing you what's been marked as States Exhibit 2. Are you familiar with this item?
Yes.
And what is it?
It's so heavy.
It is the APX 7500 radio that I extracted data from.
Okay.
Berliner Flans. They are getting ready to impeach.
The state is now offering to admit State's Exhibit Number 2 into evidence.
No objection.
Admitted without objection.
No objections, okay.
So this radio is the radio that you conducted an examination of
Correct.
and extracted data from.
Yes.
And let me ask you, how did you come into possession of this radio?
It was brought to the facility. I met with the officers that brought it
Okay.
in a conference room, and I brought my equipment because that's just the transceiver part of the radio. It doesn't have the control head or the power supply attached to it yet, so I had to bring that material with me to the conference room. And basically, most of the time spent was setting it up, just getting it all connected to the control head and the power supply. I had to go back for cables once that were the wrong type for that, because that model needed
Happens a lot, yeah.
a specific type of connector. So by the time I got that all done, the actual extraction, because I knew where the data was that I wanted to extract. I used a tool on my laptop, proprietary Motorola tool that can read data out of that section of the memory, and I used it to extract that information that I knew contained, if any, the waypoints.
Okay. And with this tool that you use, this proprietary tool that I assume Motorola developed, is that correct?
That's correct.
When you're using this tool on that day that you did the examination, was the tool in working order?
Yes.
And was your laptop in working order?
Yes.
And so, obviously, you said you had to go get some power cords and stuff like that, but ultimately, you did extract the data and
Yes,
analyze
April.
it.
Correct.
And did you generate a report after you conducted that?
Yes.
Okay.
Except for
Permission
killers,
to approach,
April.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Granted.
I'm not showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 506. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Could you please tell me what it is?
It's the report that I emailed to the agents about the data that I extracted from the radio.
Okay. Now, this report, was it generated at or near the time when you conducted the analysis and extraction of the data?
Yes.
And was this report generated in the regular course of business of Motorola in extracting data and analyzing customer products?
Yes.
Okay. And this is an accurate, true and correct copy of your report?
Yes.
Wendy says, can't wait for the data. Me too.
State's Exhibit 506, transaction and elections.
Welcome, everyone, if you're only joining now. Haven't missed much yet. Only getting started.
Any objections? Are you offering?
No objection.
Yes, Your Honor.
506?
State's Exhibit 506 is being offered into evidence.
Admitted without objection.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
Right.
Ooh. What's it gonna be? Okay. Got something so far. With GPS coordinates. Yee. That's gonna... Okay, let's see the time. This is on the 9th of April 2018.
Ms. Stevens, could you please explain to the jury what it is that we're looking at here?
This is the data that has a date timestamp and a coordinate associated with that timestamp.
Okay. And this data was extracted from that radio that's on the states table right there?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we're looking here, you said that it was date stamped and time stamped, correct? It had the date and time stamp on it.
Mhm.
I
So
think
that
that's
would
from the
be-
bottom
Is that
up.
what would be right here?
Yes.
Now, what are all these numbers on
742.
this side of your report?
Those are the GPS coordinates, latitude and longitude of the position of the radio at that time.
Okay. And I assume that these numbers correlate with the time and date on the left-hand side.
Correct.
And these would have been stored and saved on that radio anytime it powered down?
Correct.
Okay.
Each line is a separate waypoint.
From a power down cycle and was then saved onto the device. How many, if we can count here, how many waypoints were saved on April 9th of 2018?
9.
And at any point in time, have you been able to, in your analysis of this data, did you ever map out those coordinates?
Yes.
Oh, map time.
Permission
Will
to
it
approach
be a
now?
match? Yes,
Now showing you
Danielle.
what's been marked as states 507.
The data will be crucial to this
508.
trial. I agree. The prosecution has said so too.
509
Yes.
and 510. Are you
Oh,
familiar
she's-
with these
she's
items?
smiling.
Yes.
What are they?
They are images, maps, satellite image maps of with pinpoints containing the coordinates on the report.
From your report. Now, obviously, we're looking right here at actual locations, correct, based off of the longitude and latitude?
Correct.
But we can't see anything, correct,
Yes.
as far as where it actually is?
Right. You need to enter it into a something like Google Earth or Google Maps.
Okay. Would it be helpful to the jury to see these items to understand exactly where these pinpoints on your report are?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Sweet and salty.
Defense,
GPS
states
timeline.
510,
Together with Maptime, imagine it.
58, and 57.
Put all those on
You
the
saying
map.
510, 509, 508?
508, 507. Yes, Your Honor.
And are you offering?
Yes, Your Honor. We'll be offering them in 10 minutes.
Pamela says she knows what she's talking about. Anything you have that holds data can put you in a world of trouble, especially text messages. They don't go away. Yes, and when I was looking through the document menu, I can't really find anything to order that we'd really want, you know? There's no probable cause affidavit or like arrest affidavit or something like that. But they have sealed his, up to now, of course, Facebook account and Snapchat records and things. So I'm sure we're going to learn a lot this week about all of that.
Any objection?
Your Honor, the objection is that there hasn't been any testimony to show that Ms. Stephens masked. is
Sorry, what?
point. And so we don't know how this would have been used.
Hey, we
I'm sorry. So what is your objection?
Well, that this is not, she has to testify that she prepared this exhibit. There's no testimony showing that they're reliable.
Why don't we do this? Why don't you finish up the question with regard to how that was done and where they landed on each one of those photographs, and then we'll take it one by one like that. All right?
All right. Now, Ms. Stevens, you've seen these photos already, so I don't need to show them to you again. Did you yourself prepare these?
I did not.
But you reviewed them,
I did.
and you did your own separate analysis of mapping the coordinates from your report, correct?
Correct.
And when reviewing them, were you able to look at them side by side and analyze the waypoints and the pinpoints that were marked on these images?
Yes, I took the coordinates off of the report itself, entered into Google Maps, and compared the exact images with my images.
And you compared your images to these images?
Correct.
And were they identical?
Yes.
Now, one more thing, if you could. Is there anything here that indicates where these photos were generated from?
What are you showing the witnesses?
I'm showing the witness 507, 508, 509, and 510. And I'll fan them out so you can see.
Fan them out. Paula says, okay, defense attorney saying it's
particularly
unreliable
right here.
already.
Okay. Yes, it indicates that it was created by Google Earth program.
We love Google Earth.
Again, Your Honor, I'm offering to evidence 507 through 510.
Yes, my pet shop, all of them do.
Approach it?
Oh dear. So, Eduardo, not loving it. He's like, no, this is unreliable. We're not going to have it. Megan, does the defendant have private attorneys or public defense? I believe it's a team of public defenders. Why a team? Because it's a death penalty case. And so they often have a team, like we see with Koberger too, right? They are going for the death penalty in that case too. So yeah. My pet shop said, like, Creesh. Judge wouldn't stand for this. I think this judge's patience is running out, though, with Eduardo. Look at his face. He's basically like, what is your problem, sir? You should have told us this before the time. The look at it. Oh, it's getting tense. You brilliant enough lines. And we're at the bench again. Rando, I love how if it is against the defense, it's junk science. But if it was in their favor, it's just fine, right? Oh, he's sipping his coffee. He got a new cup today.
Sure.
PR probably told him, don't you support that football team while they're on trial?
Pins, correct?
Correct.
And those pins indicate what?
The location that the coordinates relate to.
That relate to what? Your report? Or?
In the report, those GPS coordinates are latitude and longitude. They will pinpoint a location, an actual location, and Google Earth or Google Maps will draw for you a pin and place it on the map at those coordinates.
So explain how you verified these pinpoints that are on states 507, 508, 509, and 510. What is it that you did in order to double check, cross-reference, and verify those images?
I opened up Google Maps.
Okay.
In the search bar, I entered, actually I cut and pasted from the report that exact number and pasted it into the search bar in Google Maps.
Okay.
Hit enter, and it displayed the pin for that location on the map, and I compared it to your Google Earth images, and it was identical.
Okay. Now,
She just
when you say you
Maptime.
copy and paste it, how many did you copy and paste?
All 9 from the list from April 9th.
Of 2018?
Yes.
Okay. And so you copied each and every single
Each one.
longitude and latitude, and you mapped it out and cross-referenced it with these images,
Correct.
and were they identical?
They were identical.
And in states 507, 508, 509,
We hear that train in the
and
background.
510, within these images are all 9 of the waypoints from April 9th of 2018 mapped out and pinned down in those images.
Correct.
And how are they mapped down, or how are they pinned down in those images? What is there?
There's a yellow pin marker,
Okay.
and the coordinate is printed on the image as well.
Okay. And the coordinate is also printed on the pin as well. And those coordinates that are on those pins, when you typed in those same coordinates, copy-pasted it from the report, and put it into Google Maps, the pinpoints were exactly in the same position.
Correct.
Okay. And just again, on each of these 9 pins that are shown in these images,
We're going to object to the leading question.
Oh, no. Eduardo's objecting to the many questions.
Okay. Are you sustained, but are you reoffering?
yes, Your Honor.
Any objections to the offer?
Same objections, Your Honor, that there is a lack of foundation to show precisely how those images are generated, other than Ms. Tiffin's testimony that she plugged in the coordinates to Google Earth,
What?
and that they coincided with her determination of the waypoint.
All right.
I don't think that's sufficient to show the reliability of those.
This is his main defense.
Your objection is overruled.
Your objection is overruled.
The state's exhibits are admitted. 507, 08, 09, and 510. Thank you.
Overruled.
All right. Now,
Objection, tea and wildflowers.
cross-reference these photos with your report. So, let's start at the beginning. Because it seems to me, or you can say, is it correct that these timestamps, along with their coordinates, are in reverse order, being the latest one at the top and the earlier ones at the bottom?
Correct.
Okay. So let's start with the first one on
And
April 9th.
And don't try not to leave your witness.
Oh, yes, Your Honor. On April 9th. Could you please, for the jury,
Sorry, I'll make it
read
bigger again.
the date, the time, and the coordinate?
2018, April 9th at 7:59:07 Central Daylight Time. The coordinates are, do I need to read out the whole number?
I'm sorry, the coordinate?
You
Yes,
want me to
please.
read the whole number?
Or,
27.61
There?
to a lot of digits, and minus 99.47 with a lot of precision digits as well.
A lot of precision. Yes, indeed.
now, with regards to that coordinate,
Oh, okay.
this coordinate right here and this plotting point of that coordinate from your report, this is where that coordinate, in essence, from this radio,
Hmm.
when you tracked that data, showed the location of that radio.
Yes, basically that's the graphical representation of that coordinate.
Okay. And that was at what time again?
At I think it was 7:59.
Random point right here.
Van says maybe if you use MapQuest, Ed would not
It's
object.
a little difficult to see. Oh, is that the yellow thumbtack
Yes.
that you referred to earlier? And again, that's, what is that for the jury?
That what the pinpoint? It's a graphical representation of that coordinate on April 9th.
On April 9th. The first one that morning.
Yes.
Okay. And right here, could you read for the jury what that is, what that says right there? I can zoom in.
It's
It is
okay.
the Laredo North
Laredo
Border-
North Border Patrol Station.
That's
Alright.
it. Border Patrol Station. Alright. So that's where the day starts.
So we had just reviewed this one right
I can't
here.
hear you, Mr.
Oh. This is the coordinate that we had just covered right now in that photo, right? The State's Exhibit 510.
Correct.
Okay. Now, these two coordinates right here, could you please state the date and time as well as the coordinate?
April 9th, 2018 at 9:49 a.m. or Central Daylight Time, and April 9th at 16:59 Central Daylight Time.
I'm sorry. These two right here.
Okay. Oh, sorry, 9:49 and 10:10.
Okay. And then obviously the coordinates, if you could just read the first four
Oh.
numbers of each of those.
That's very important
coordinates,
times.
please.
Okay, the earlier one is 27.57 and minus 99.52.
And for the one at 1010?
27.57 and minus 99.52.
All right.
Yes. It's map time.
Now again, going over the same exercise. This pin right here, what is that?
That is the location at the timestamp.
Okay. And this one right here?
That's the second location of that with the 1010 timestamp.
So this right here is from 1010, and then this one was the 949, the one prior to it.
Yes.
Okay. And these are where a power down cycle occurred.
Yes.
And would that be the data that was stored
That would be a waypoint stored.
on this radio right
Yes.
here?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, moving back to your report.
Okay.
And for the record, the image that was just up was States Exhibit 509, and we're now moving back to a report, States Exhibit 506. After the 1010, could you please read the next three timestamps, date, as well as the first four of each of these coordinates?
On April 9th at 13:10, the coordinate is 27.57 minus 99.52. On April 9th at 16:59, the coordinate is 27.57 and minus 99.52. And on April 9th at 17:08, the coordinate is 27.57 and minus 99.52.
Right.
So
Now, publishing
busted.
States Exhibit 508. Could you please tell the jury what this is?
It's a graphical representation of those three coordinates.
Okay. And just going in,
Okay. It's different. This trial is sponsored by Paper.
looks like these coordinates were very close to each other,
Mm-hmm.
but reading the first one, at what time was this coordinate saved to the device?
At 16:59.
The top one,
Oh,
please.
sorry, 13:01. Yeah, that's
Alrighty.
earlier.
I think it's 13.
And how about
Okay.
the bottom one now?
At 16:59.
And for purposes of the record, 16:59 would be what time? If we put it into a 12-hour instead of a 24?
4:59,
And 13:01, again, if we put it in a 12-hour instead of a 24?
1:01 p.m.
Alrighty. And lastly, this pin right here.
Yes, that one is the representation of the third coordinate at 5:08 p.m.
At 5:08. Okay. So again, in this photo,
I think
based
so,
off your
Khata.
report, which is based off of your report, these would be the coordinates that were saved to this device?
Correct.
And that would have occurred during a power down cycle?
Correct.
Okay. Now going back to State's Exhibit 508. I would like to cover
The defendant.
the top three. If you could read the date and time of the top three waypoints, as well as the first four numbers of their coordinates.
On April 9th at 1812, the coordinate was 27.53 minus 99.47. On April 9th at 1814, the coordinate was 27.53 and minus 99.47. And on April 9th at 1814.50, the coordinate is 27.53 and minus 99.47.
Alrighty. And for the jury, if we convert that hour 18 into a 12-hour, what time would that be?
6 o'clock p.m.
6? Okay.
6:14.
6:14. And then if you could just put them all out there, it'd be 6.
6:14 again. 30 seconds earlier. 6:14 and 6:12.
Alright.
And
Publishing
where's-
States Exhibit 507.
Oh, back there. Okay. Oh,
Could you tell us what this is, please?
A graphical representation of the coordinates, the last three coordinates.
Alright. Now, zooming into this one. This is one of the. Well, what is this yellow pin?
That is the location of the radio in a parking lot.
Alrighty. And these two coordinates again were pretty close together, but let's start with the top one. At what time was the top coordinate saved?
At 6:14:26.
And now moving to the bottom coordinate.
6:14:50.
And then again, I'm going to go to the parking lot. And at what time was this parking lot coordinate saved?
At 6:12:49.
6:12:49?
Yes.
Alrighty. And if I could, very briefly. Have you read what both this and this say?
Laredo Police Department and Laredo Police Patrol Division.
Alrighty.
that's right,
That was
Liz.
State's Exhibit 507. I'm now moving back to State's Exhibit 506, the expert's report. Alrighty. So, as we just covered, the 9 waypoints that were saved were shown there. And let me ask you, when you conducted the analysis and extracted the data from the Motorola mobile radio, was the data good?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
At the point of collection, while the radio is storing the data, it's written to a block in memory as a record called, waypoint structure. And that record would have a checksum applied to it and stored. And that new member of the block would then be incorporated into a new checksum for the whole block. So that each record has a checksum and each block has a checksum. And so that's at the time it's stored. When I extracted the block of data, the tool, Motorola tool, knows how to create that checksum, knows what parts of the block are counted in the checksum value, and it knows what parts of the record are used in the calculation of the record checksum. So it goes ahead and creates its own checksums, and they must match to provide confidence that there was no corruption of the data.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
And
Jay Scott.
you're talking about these checksums. Could you very briefly describe to the jury what exactly is a checksum?
It's an algorithm that, it's actually a value that is created by an algorithm that decides what bits in a set of data are used in a count. Basically, it's counting the number of all data is composed of ones and zeros, and so it'll count the data pieces to see how many ones are actually used in the creation of that data value, and it will plot that, or it stores that in a checksum value.
Okay, and so that's pretty much like a checks and balances to make sure that the data is good and not corrupted, as you said?
Yes.
And in this case, was the checksum good?
Yes, it matched.
No. Couple final questions for you. Referring back to State's Exhibit 506. You indicate that the data extracted from an APX 750 or 7500 mobile radio had a serial number. Could you read that serial number to the jury, please?
656 CRZ 2019.
All right. And that was on State's Exhibit 506. On State's Exhibit 502, could you please read the serial number?
656 CRZ 2019.
All right. So it's safe to say that
Which exhibit number is that?
Exhibit 2.
Exhibit 2.
Exhibit 2.
All right. I thought you said 502.
I might have. Apologies. Okay. So it's safe to say that the serial number is the same.
Correct.
And one last thing. On State's Exhibit 2, could you please read what is labeled on the side?
K66119 LRN.
All right. And do you know what that number means?
I do not.
Do you know what this?
It's drawn on after production of the radio. It's not a Motorola number.
Okay. And do you know where this radio came from?
Customs and Border Patrol vehicle.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Any questions? All right.
Oh, Eduardo's got questions. Mic is reverbing.
Good morning, Ms. Stevens.
Good morning.
Ms. Stevens, to try to give the jury a better idea of your testimony and of what it entails, one degree of, first of all, GPS coordinates use degrees of latitude and longitude, correct?
Yes.
And they also use minutes and seconds, correct?
I'm not familiar with that part of GPS. I don't use it that way.
So you just use degrees of latitude and longitude?
Well, I'm actually not a GPS expert, but I do know that the coordinates can be represented by that number that is stored in the radio.
Yes, here we go, Casey Cat.
Do you know that 1 degree of latitude equals approximately 364,000 feet or 69 miles?
Sounds correct.
And 1 degree of longitude equals 288,200 feet or 54.6 miles. Does that sound correct?
Sounds correct.
Okay. Now,
Man.
according to Exhibit 506, it indicates that 9 GPS location coordinates were recorded over an 11-hour period of time. Is that correct?
It sounds right. I mean, I'd have to do the calculation from the report, but if that's what you found in the report, that's correct.
He's trying to debunk that it would be those pinpoints. Mm-hmm.
You're not suggesting that the Motorola device only generated 9 GPS location coordinates over that 11-hour period, are you?
No, those are only the ones that were stored. The GPS device itself is running constantly.
Does the unit ever power down?
Yes.
The vehicle unit is powered down when they either turn off the radio with the button or turn off the ignition to the car.
Do you know how many GPS location coordinates were generated by this Motorola radio during this 11-hour period of time on April 9, 2018?
I don't know how many the GPS chip is generating, but anytime the radio requires a GPS coordinate, it polls the chip for that information. And the only time it would be polling for that information is when it needs it for an application. And in this case, all it needs it for is storing that power down location.
So would it be correct to say that the 9 GPS location coordinates that you met are only a small fraction of all location coordinates that the unit received during that 11-hour period of time?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, simply that the 9 GPS coordinates that you met are not all of the coordinates that the device received during that period of time, correct?
It's correct that what I don't know is if there were any erroneous GPS locations that were not available at the time of shutdown.
Okay. He's
So
going to go with that.
if it did not pass the criteria of getting a good fix, the GPS device itself says it didn't get a good fix, so it's not going to report a coordinate. Or if the Motorola software deemed the signal quality not good enough to use that coordinate, it would also not be stored as a waypoint. So I don't know how many of those there were, if there were any. It could be that, or the other thing is if the vehicle loses power, if for some reason, the battery disconnected or whatever, and you shut down a hard shutdown like that, the radio doesn't get a chance to store a coordinate. But on a normal shutdown, it tries to store a coordinate.
Now, Motorola's technology that is used to generate the GPS location data is proprietary technology, correct? It's technology that belongs to Motorola, in other words, isn't it?
The part of GPS handling outside of the chip is Motorola proprietary, correct?
Yeah. And by proprietary technology, the algorithm is the private property of Motorola, correct? The algorithm that generates the GPS coordinates is private property of Motorola, correct?
That's correct.
And because it is the private property of Motorola, the company does not have to reveal to any third party how that technology works. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
And in fact, Motorola does not reveal that technology. Those are trade secrets. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And so as a result, there's no way for any person to independently verify the accuracy of the GPS location coordinates that are generated by this Motorola radio. Isn't that correct?
Well, someone can use the mapping tool to. There are programs that a customer, or applications, we could call them, that a customer could enable on the radio to see how accurate the reported values are.
Google Earth uses an algorithm to determine the waypoints of the GPS coordinates, correct?
Google does, did you say Google does something? Sorry.
Google Earth uses an algorithm to determine the waypoints of the GPS
Wait, he says
coordinates.
algorithm.
Is that correct?
I still didn't quite catch what you were saying at the beginning. I'm sorry, my hearing's not too good.
My hearing's not that good either. You do know that Google Earth uses an algorithm to determine the waypoints of the GPS coordinates?
To plot the pins?
Yes.
Yes.
And do you have knowledge as to how that algorithm works?
No, not specific knowledge.
Sounds like he's got a conspiracy theory going on.
Correct.
Correct.
Trade secrets, conspiracy.
I've used it a lot, but
Right.
it seems to work well.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Michelle de Arcos.
Now, you don't know whether the GPS coordinates that you extracted on April, that were extracted from the time period that you've been talking about on April 9, 2018, you don't know whether those coordinates place Mr. Burgos in the area of the sector that he was assigned to patrol on the morning of April 9, 2018. Isn't that correct?
I'm going to object. Speculation.
Yes, conspiracy and speculation. I object too.
I don't know anything about the activities of
Right.
the patrol agent.
And of course, the GPS coordinates don't tell you or Mr. Elizondo or any of us what Mr. Burgos was doing in that area at that
Yes,
time,
what was
correct?
he doing?
Correct.
And if not him, then who? Mr. Boggs is like, I don't know what to do.
Cortez, witness one.
Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor, very briefly. There were some questions asked to you as to whether or not, if a longitude is off by 1 degree, or if the latitude is off by 1 degree, it could be several miles, thousands of feet off, correct?
300,000 feet.
Well,
On the GPS coordinates.
I'm not sure if that was implied, but if you're 1 degree off, that would be a big deal, yes.
Okay.
But there's a lot of precision provided so that you can get partial degrees.
Okay. And again, this radio came from a customer of Motorola, correct?
Yes.
And who was that customer again?
Customs and Border Patrol.
I'm not publishing what's been marked as State's Exhibit 10, 510, apologies. And this was what again?
Laredo North Border Patrol Station
And the yellow pin there?
is in the parking lot. It is the coordinate retrieved on April 9th at 7:59 at a latitude and longitude of 27.61 and minus 99.47.
Ronald, my objection is that this is repetitive. We've gone through this questioning already.
And this waypoint came from this radio,
Correct.
which belonged and was a customer of T-Mobile, of Motorola,
Yes.
and they were United States Customs and Border Protection.
Correct.
Okay. Now, you said you worked at Motorola for 38 years, correct?
Correct.
And do you know when this particular model of radio or similar models that relied on the same software components was developed?
It's been a number of years. I can't recall exactly, but it's probably over 10 years.
Over 10 years.
Yeah.
And you said earlier, you testified earlier that you had been conducting analysis of these types of products for, you said 30 years? Or?
About 30 years, yes.
So is it fair to say that you've been testing and analyzing mobile radios like this since their inception?
Yes.
Okay. Caroline says, this is the defense making it easy to appeal based on incompetent counsel. Oh man, they're probably going to do that too, yes.
Now, we're going to permission to publish States 213. Sorry, I didn't get it.
Go ahead.
I'm not publishing what's been marked as States Exhibit 213. Could you please read to the jury what that number above F-150 says?
K66119.
That's what
And
they said in
again,
opening
On
statements.
States Exhibit number 2, what is the marking on the side? What does that say?
K66119.
Is that the same number that is on that Border Patrol vehicle?
Yes, it is.
All right. No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything else?
Just a few questions, Your Honor.
Oh dear.
Ms. Stevens, you mentioned that sometimes there are issues with configuration of one of these mobile instruments, correct?
There can be, definitely.
And what is meant by configuration of an instrument?
It's, it's only going to be configurable from the radio operation point of view, not much configuration for a GPS. The GPS device is totally self-contained, not configurable by this information. But, when I'm investigating issues, frequently, we would have to extract data from a radio to find out if there were problems with the configuration from a radio talk, listen, data point of view. Not really relevant to the GPS. There's very little configuration for a GPS, just, if you have enabled or not the features, and they did not configure any features. So it was really just the one feature that Motorola uses itself, which is to speed up GPS lock on a power up. So we store the last reading on a power down.
And what kind of issues can result from the configuration of one of these instruments?
From a non-GPS point of view, there's countless ways. You could program the wrong frequencies in the radio so that you couldn't find a site to communicate with dispatch. There's the frequencies themselves have identifiers that could be configured wrong. You could have problems with any one of the features that are involved in the radio, like, they could have misconfigured the emergency feature so that it only sent the alarm, not the alarm and a subsequent call. All sorts of configuration issues could explain complaints.
You also mentioned that sometimes in your job with Motorola, you would deal with customers' complaints. What is the nature of the customers' complaints that you would deal with?
They would say that, there was garbled audio. There could be, they couldn't communicate with, in a certain location.
Not the GPS.
That the radio shuts off, that the radio, it could be anything. Could be anything from hardware. It could be a problem with the system, that you can't reach the system from your location. It was all sorts of reasons I've dealt with. They're countless.
As with all other technology, this technology that you've been describing sometimes has technical issues, correct?
Sure. Yeah.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Further
Nurse
questions,
Bev
Your
is
Honor?
like, how is any of this relevant to Nurse Bev?
Thank you very much. You are excused and you go about your business. Thank you.
Oh, the judge is sounding short. He sounded like he was on 1.5 speed there. Okay. Yeah, those points look pretty accurate, and that's exactly where yesterday Agent Dennison and Agent Lara pointed at on those
They call-
cardboard maps.
Laredo Police Officer Alberto Cortez.
The Laredo police officer, okay. Check the name. What's the sound now? I want to hear his name. Oh, man. What happened now? Oh, is this about fetching all that evidence in and out in the boxes or what?
Yes, this is.
Okay.
Get a couple of water.
Can't see his name. A Laredo police officer.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I'll ask you just to sit close to that mic so the court reporter can hear you.
Yes, of course.
Speak up nice and loud, please. Can you please state your name for the record?
Yes, Alberto Cortez Jr.
Alberto.
And how are you currently employed?
with the city of Laredo as a police officer.
Okay. And how long have you been with the police department?
18 years.
Okay. And what type of duties do you have?
I am currently a patrol officer. I work shift work. I patrol the streets for all of my 18 years as a patrolman.
Nice. Okay, 18 years.
As part of working the streets, do you respond to emergency calls?
Yes, sir, that is correct. Every type and any type of call.
Nice.
And are you a licensed peace officer
Yes, sir, that is correct.
in the state of Texas?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to focus your attention to April the 9th, 2018. You remember that day?
Yes, sir.
Were you on duty that morning?
That is correct.
Okay. What time did you come on duty that morning?
At 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. And what was going to be your shift?
That morning, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay. Did you receive any calls on that morning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what type of call you received.
That morning, more or less around 11:30 a.m., I received a call of a female down by Bristol and Riverbank Road, which is located in Mines Road, with lacerations to her head. While en route to that call, my dispatchers informed me that she was possibly deceased.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And did you proceed to that area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can I ask you to show the jury where you arrived and what you did when you arrived on the map?
Yes, sir.
We love Maptime. This case is so much Maptime. I love it. It's Maptime. Trial time, Maptime.
Yes. Can you put that, turn that on and put it in your pocket and put that on your tire?
Just clip it on your tire, officer. There you go.
Oh dear.
Thanks.
But nice. I feel like somebody's watching the stream for real, guys. Now they've got the lapel mics. Are they watching? Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yes.
So what I'm going to ask you to do, you just testified that you got a call to respond to the Father McNaboe Park?
Yes, off of Bristol, yes.
Off of Bristol. Can you identify Bristol on this map?
Yes, this is Bristol. If the map extended further, Mines Road is here, and it intersects with Bristol Road. So I proceeded north on Mines, and then west on Bristol Road.
Okay. Did you gain entry into the park area?
Yes, at the very end, there was a gate that was already open. Upon arrival, the ambulance, the City of Laredo paramedics, the ambulance was already parked outside. I parked, and I walked down to the trail.
Okay. Did you come in contact with anybody when you got there?
Yes, while on my way down, two paramedics were on the way up, and I asked them more or less, where is everybody? They said, follow the dirt trail, and you'll see the body, and you see the USBP agents down there.
Okay. Did you come in contact with a BP agent by the name of Dennison?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Agent
So
Dennison.
show the jury on this map where you parked your car. You can show
Okay.
with your finger, and then the path you walked to the
Okay.
area where the agents were.
So, again, here on Bristol, I walked on foot due to the fact that the dirt path trail, very bumpy, didn't think my unit would make it. I don't want to get stuck. So when I walked all the way down the trail, this part right here looks like an island.
Yes.
This is where BP units were stationed. 4 to 5 United States Border Patrol agents were located here.
Okay.
And a motionless, lifeless female body was about right here. She was facing eastbound. And upon me being a police officer, secured the crime scene, look for any evidence, any clues, anything out of the ordinary. As I began to canvass the crime scene, in better words, I was walking around this grassy on the edge. There was one USBP agent, Agent Dennison, already ahead of me. He was already south.
Yes.
I passed the female body. I did look at her. I observed she was barefooted. She was face down. Lots of blood. Can you hear me? Yes, lots of blood around her upper middle torso on the dirt. And continuing my path southbound, I saw blood drops on the dirt. At this time, Agent Dennison said out loud, I found another body.
Okay. Stop right there.
Okay.
Have a seat. the female. But, okay.
Nice. Agent Boggs, not agent, sorry. Defense Attorney Boggs does not look like he's enjoying it today. Too much map time. And I'm plotting this all out for us. Paul Sr. says his new wife is called Dave and is waiting for him in prison. Yes.
Now, you said that you saw a lot of blood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna show you this blood. States Exhibit 254.
Not till after the trial,
Is
Mrs.
this
O.
the type of blood that you saw?
That is correct, sir.
Oh my God, trigger
You
warning,
also
everyone.
said that there was, and you
Crap.
didn't walk on the. Where were you walking? Let me ask
Sorry,
you
I'm making
that.
it small.
On the grass, where the grass and the dirt meet, right on that
So you stayed on the
boundary.
edge of the
Yes.
path. You did not disturb the dirt path.
No, no, sir.
Okay.
That was hectic.
And here, for example, is States Exhibit 229. Some of the blood drops that you saw.
That is correct.
Sure.
States Exhibit 255.
Educational purposes, we're watching the trial.
Yes, sir.
It's hectic.
That is what I saw.
What is the vantage point from here?
Oh my gosh.
Where USBP agents, they were north of where this blood was at. This is where the female body was at.
So what direction are we looking at here?
South.
Okay.
Southbound.
And you walk along which side here? Looking at this image.
I walk on the right side, the east side,
Okay.
the west side, I'm sorry.
Because you walk on the west side grass.
Yes, where the cones are of 2, 3 on that.
Okay. Now those cones weren't there when you got there, correct?
No, those markers were not.
In fact, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, were you the first officer that arrived?
Yes, that is correct.
So you were the first official Laredo police officer to arrive,
Yes.
and this location falls within your jurisdiction.
No. Each officer is assigned a certain area. I got dispatched to be there.
No, but what I'm saying, that's within the city limits.
Oh, yes, that is correct. Yes.
Okay, so this is within the city limits.
Yes.
What county is this?
Webb County.
So the body's in the city of Laredo and Webb County.
Yes.
What do you do as the first responding police officer?
First thing is obviously a crime scene is secure the crime scene.
And what does that entail?
To preserve as much evidence, not to let anyone of unauthorized personnel try to destroy any evidence. So therefore, us officers, we have crime scene tape, the yellow crime scene tape. So I began to secure the crime scene tape around the grass area.
So you are the person that put the crime scene tape up that morning?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Now, you told the jury that you see a female.
Yes.
Okay. And you've described that there was a lot of blood.
Yes.
Okay. What was your impression of what had happened?
Any prudent person will see a lifeless, motionless body to come to the conclusion that she was deceased.
But at that time, the opinion as to how she was deceased, based on what you're seeing, what you're assessing, are you making an assessment?
No, she was brutally attacked.
Now
Mr. On the approach, please.
Oh man. Sorry about that. I'm just quickly making some here. I wonder what they're approaching about now. Huh? I was not expecting those pictures. I know it's blood on the ground. It didn't show bodies or anything, but wow, they actually showed that. Sorry, that we didn't. None of us expected it.
I want to pick up where you said you saw Agent Dennison.
Okay.
Okay. You were testifying that he was on the same west side of the brush where you were, right?
That is correct.
Okay. You also testified that he said that there was a body.
That is correct.
Okay. What happens at that point? Or what do you do at that point?
At that point, he was ahead of me, southbound. When I heard him say, "I found another body," I walked towards his direction, to his location. He was no longer on the dirt path. He was in the brush. And when I arrived there at the brush with Agent Dennison, I observed a motionless little boy as well.
You can hear that's a very hard.
Describe, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what you saw, or when you saw the little boy. If you can describe what you saw.
Of course. Little brown booties, little brown boy booties, blue jeans that were covered in blood, freshly haircut.
Oh, shame.
And what caught more my attention was the way the body was positioned, he was placed. He wasn't thrown, he was placed. It's as if someone had placed him down.
Did you see any injuries to the baby?
Yes, lots of blood around the neck area, and that came down. I said again, blood on the blue jeans as well.
Okay. Permission to approach you.
I wonder what they're going to show us now. Right, I'm just making notes. Shame, and freshly cut hair too. You know, like normal day, there were baby wipes and Doritos and this little boy, and oh man. What a scene. This will haunt them forever, what they've seen. I don't know if it's going to be the clothing we're going to see now. You know, like the boots and the jeans and stuff, or what are we seeing?
Tendering to advance to exhibit 26, 24, 25.
So loud, oh my word.
For their inspection.
Oh, shame, it's going to be the Yoda shirt.
These are, I think, already, or we'll move to introduce them into evidence.
Which ones are they again?
This will be State's Exhibit
24, 25, and 26?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you offering?
Yes.
Any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
Admitted without objection. That'll be states 24, 25, and 26. Thank you.
Can the witness step down so we can show him?
We're out here.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 26. And if you can identify.
Trigger warning.
Recognize this.
Man.
Yes, now I remember. T-shirt. Yes, sir.
Did you see any other injuries on the baby?
It's re-traumatized.
How close were you to the baby?
Standing right over the body.
How many injuries did you observe on the baby at that time?
I only observed one,
And that was to.
the neck area.
Did you notice any cuts, incisions, or tears on the shirt?
No damage, just the blood.
So the shirt is intact.
Yes, sir.
And the shirt says, "Lucky
The
I
baby
am."
You said was wearing jeans.
Yes, sir.
And I'm showing you State's Exhibit 25. You said you recognize these jeans.
Yes.
And you said that he had a large amount of blood on it.
Don't have to leave your witness, please.
And what was the conditions of the jeans?
Blood-soaked jeans.
And finally, you said that he was wearing. What was he wearing on his feet?
Brown booties. Brown little boy booties.
State's Exhibit 24.
Yes, sir.
Permission to
You can
publish
see
these two.
he's reliving it all now.
I'm just going to show.
I don't need to.
Just to show it to them.
They see it already.
What do you do after that, after you find the baby?
At that point, I began to secure the crime scene with the crime scene yellow tape. Right before that, I did also locate a white, off-white woman's shoe that was in the general vicinity from where I was standing. I began to do the crime scene tape in a way of a path, knowing that investigators and other authorized personnel would be making their way down to this crime scene. So I formed a path with the crime scene tape so they could follow when they arrived.
And Agent Dennison was in front of you this whole
Yes,
time?
he was with me, yes, yes, sir.
And you were with him when the shoe was found?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That was hectic.
What else did you do that morning with respect to your duties in this case?
After the scene was secured,
Yes.
I told Agent Dennison if he could escort me back to my patrol unit, which was in the very top of Bristol, if he was willing to provide a voluntary statement.
And did you have the opportunity to hand out statements?
Yes, to Agent Dennison.
Okay, just to him?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember his demeanor at the time?
He was, while we were back in my patrol unit where I keep my voluntary statements, my paperwork, something important was broadcasted over our radio, and
Let me stop you
I'm
there.
sorry.
When you said something was broadcasted over your radio, Which radio are you talking about?
My assigned portable unit that's issued by the Laredo Police Department.
Are you wearing that today?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And that radio, you had it on that morning?
Yes, sir.
And is it audible,
Yes.
loud,
Yes, yes, sir.
and you hear communications?
Yes, sir. That morning I had it on my chest with a clip. The only reason I have it here today is for the tie.
Okay. And what communication came over the radio that morning?
It was broadcasted, possible suspect, Burgos.
Oh, possible suspect, Burgos.
That was broadcasted over my P unit, portable unit.
What was your reaction at that time? But when you heard Burgos, what did that, did it mean anything to you at all?
No, no, sir.
Did Dennison?
Dennison was in close proximity where he could hear
Oh,
the broadcast on my radio.
Did he have any reaction?
He was appalled.
How do you know? What was his demeanor?
He was in shock. The
Objection, Your Honor. This witness cannot testify as to what somebody else from others perceived.
I'm asking about his demeanor when he heard the broadcast.
Yes.
Dennison was in front of him. He can testify as to what the agent's physical demeanor was when the broadcast came out.
We'll stick with the demeanor, but nothing with regard to what he said, sir. The witness has been instructed. You understand that?
yes,
You understand?
yes,
Thank
I'm
you.
asking only his. You have your radio.
yes, sir.
The name Burgos comes out.
Yes, sir.
It means nothing to you.
No, no, sir.
Do you see a physical change in Agent Dennison?
Yes, sir.
To you, what do you see this physical change?
He was in shock.
Okay. What makes you say that? Without anything he may have said, what makes you give
The head jerking to the back, the typical of any person when you're in shock, the movement of your head, the opening of the eyes, the nodding of the head. He wasn't shocked.
Did you document that?
Yes, sir.
Pass the witness.
we do know Solaris. We can go over it again when I have a minute
Good morning,
to say it
officer.
again.
Hi, good morning.
Officer, at what time did you arrive at the crime scene?
I'm sorry, Mr. Peña, just one favor. Just turn it towards you.
Here we go.
Thank you.
At what time did you arrive at the crime scene?
By the time I was dispatched, not maybe 10 minutes, 10 to 12, 15 minutes.
At what time of the day would that have been?
This was in the morning. I believe the call was sent out, dispatched to us around 11:30-ish a.m.
So you must have arrived about 11:45, more or less?
More or less, that is correct, sir.
And you said that you began to secure the crime scene?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So until you began to secure the crime scene had not been secured, correct?
That is correct.
Eduardo.
And there were many law enforcement officers, border patrol agents, and EMTs at the scene when you arrived, correct?
The EMTs were already back on the way up on the trail, and there were about 4 to 5 United States Border Patrol agents.
And you saw Mr. Burgos there at the scene as well?
I saw many of them, yes. But sitting here, I recognize him, yes.
And he appeared to be in shock as well as Agent Dennison, correct?
No,
It's like,
That
no.
was not your impression?
no, sir.
So you're saying that he appeared to be normal to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. No further questions.
You
Your
walked
Honor.
into that one, Eduardo.
No further questions.
Yes, your client appeared normal, while everyone else seemed shocked and distressed.
We're going to take a real quick break so that we can push it a little bit. We won't break at 12, so depending on the witnesses' situations, we'll see where we go. But for now, we'll take a quick break. Inside of 10 minutes, please. Thank you.
Sorry, but so we know it's half an hour. But they say we're not taking a break at 12. What does that mean? It's 11:15. So what time are they having lunch today, huh? Okay. So guess we got to recap some of these things. Excuse my page flapping. Let's just see if they say anything else. Nikki Lewis, oh dear, don't ask questions you don't know the answer to. Eduardo is like, so, Mr. Burgos, he also looked shocked, didn't he? He's like, no. No, sorry. It's like, okay, no further questions. Walked right into that one. Oh, Plain Jones says, well, that backfired, lol. That so backfired. Wow. BCTV says, why was the crime scene unsecured? Well, I think at that point it was Agent Burgos, Dennison, Lara on the scene, the police were on their way, and then they were going to secure the crime scene. While everybody else stood on one side of the victim's body, Supervisor Burgos was on the other side, scuffing his feet, kicking a rock, and all of that we found out yesterday. So, Solaris, I believe it was you that asked earlier, how do we know that why were they onto him so quickly? A few things. One, he forgot that he had the victim's phones, because there were two phones that she had, one for the baby, one for her, for the baby to play games on the phone, in his truck. Two, but that's not how, that just really added to it. But with Grizelda using her sister's car and parking it at the Father McNaboe Park, the white Mercedes-Benz, they just ran the license plate numbers. They're like, okay, we're going there, went there. And her sister said, well, she was going to meet Anthony Burgos, a border patrol agent. And they're like, sorry, what? And they're like, yes, she was going to meet Anthony Burgos, a border patrol agent. And then someone said on the radio, that's the guy who found the bodies. Or the body. Yes, indeed. Teresa, can I strike that question asked? No, sir. We object. You cannot. Yes, Jean says, if he can flip her over and say it looks like it, he had no emotions. That comes from yesterday's testimony from Agent Lara. And you could see this police officer is very emotional too. He had a visceral response to seeing the baby's clothing. So, I mean, it's completely understandable. The defense yesterday filed for a mistrial based on Border Patrol Agent Lara's emotions and saying, he was supposed to be one of the good guys, we're supposed to trust him, and then it got the jury going and people in the gallery going. So, yeah, that they filed for a mistrial. The judge denied that, but he did tell everyone, including Agent Lara and the witnesses, don't do that again. Don't do that again. You can't just answer the question. You can't say things like that, right? And so, anyway, the point is, did I answer the question, Solaris? That's how they got into him so quickly. It's because they were like, that's the guy who found the bodies. And they're like, whoa, like this guy's literally at the scene. He's also the one that radioed it in, that he'd found a injured woman. And then they all got there. But from that point on, he didn't do what a supervisor would normally do. They did, you know? So, yes. Okay. So today, so far, we've heard from a few witnesses. Yesterday, I thought Agent Laredo Police Department Investigator Juan Ruiz would be back today. I don't know if he's going to be back at some point, but he was talking about the Samsung S7 and the other Samsung, the two phones from the victim, and then also the Celebrite, you know, they got extracted the data. So I'm still waiting to hear cell phone data, because I'm sure maybe that's for later. You know, there has to be Facebook messages, Snapchat data points, messages, all kinds, right? Google searches, there could be as well. But today we had a witness, Elizabeth Stevens, and she was a Motorola staff leader and engineer. So, software engineer, right? And with a team of software engineers talking about the walkie-talkies, I'm using layman's terms. The walkie-talkies. I don't know what to call them right now. Wait, I wrote it down. The Motorola mobile radios that the Border Patrol agents use, and that they do have GPS. Now, she said this client, which would be the U.S. Customs Border Protection, did not choose to have all the location features activated. So, man, imagine that. Imagine if they did. That would be like, damn, right? Let me quickly just do this because I've got the map as well for us in case. Well, how much time is it's 6:18 p.m. now my side. I'm in the Netherlands, so I'm just looking at my time. So they said about 10 minutes. We'll see. I don't know if it's going to be 10 minutes or not. I'm going to bring the map up in a moment, so just hold on. I want to put this over here. I'm going to put this over here. Okay, we're monitoring. So, witness Elizabeth Stevens told us a lot about those walkie-talkies and how they worked and everything, and then there were all these data points, right? So in order to show you those data points, we're going to do map time, but let me just quickly tell you that after that, we saw witness Alberto Cortez Jr., who is a Laredo Police Department officer, and he secured the scene when he got there. He saw Grizelda's body. He was walking right behind Agent Dennison when Dennison said, I found another body. That must have been such a shock to everyone, right? So, yes. That is what we've heard so far. That was a very brief summary, just bullet points. For everyone asking, if you're only joining now, firstly, this trial is about Ronald Anthony Burgos-Aviles, who's facing the death penalty for the murders of Grizelda Hernandez, 27, and their baby, Dominic Hernandez, on April 9th, 2018. So it's taken a long time to get to trial. I just see the same questions coming up the whole time. Firstly, we do not victim blame on this channel. Secondly, to be like, why was she dating a married man? All that's the same thing as victim blaming. But the point is, she didn't know he was married. He said he was separated at the time and, freely dating. And she dated him for a bit. We don't know the exact time, but met him online around 2015. Yes, in 2015. And, he was saying all the right things. And they only saw each other every now and then. And she got pregnant. But he wanted nothing to do with that child. I think he was probably quite scared of his kick-ass wife, because his wife really is, we read through some of her credentials yesterday. And so he's like, he doesn't want problems in his relationship and he doesn't want problems at work. So he's just going to make that problem go away. So just leave me alone. But then in 2018, from January already, Grizelda was filing for him to offer some child support. Could you pay a little? Could you pay some bills, some daycare? I can't do this alone. You are the dad after all. She had, in the meantime, found out from her and her bestie were doing some sleuthing, I gather. And they found out, whoa, this guy's actually married and lives in Laredo and he has 2 kids. That was a shock to them. The bestie testified yesterday. Adriana Flores, right? I think I got her name right. And so, sorry, that was by memory. I'm just quickly looking. Hold on. Let me just quickly see. I don't want to get it wrong. Morning. Adriana Flores. Yeah, okay, the best friend. So they were like, whoa. But you see, the thing is, you can't be like, this is why we don't say, we're not using the term mistress anymore, because it's just disrespectful to the victim, because she wasn't a mistress. She wasn't signing up to be a mistress. She was dating a guy that she thought was single. Then she found out when she got pregnant, okay, whoa, he wants nothing to do with me. He's really cold and mean and blocked me on all social media. Okay, nice. And then afterwards doing a bit of sleuthing, as one might, and being like, damn, just on social media, he's married with kids in Laredo? He's a Border Patrol agent? Damn, okay. So there's all of that. She really wanted him to have a relationship with their son, and she really wanted some financial support. She was pursuing being a nurse. Her sister's also a nurse. And so, yes. Yolanda says, I think Grizelda was very much in love with the defendant, which surely clouded her ability to disengage completely from him. We don't know that, but thank you, Yolanda. I really appreciate your sticker. We don't know that, but I do know that she really wanted financial support. She was really struggling, and she had another son who was 6 years old at the time, and that dad was also, apparently, from what we heard, not showing up with the bills, with child support. So she's trying to raise the 2 kids on her own, and we saw some text messages between her and her friend, right? Okay, so that is what we've heard. So she was a girlfriend for a bit, got pregnant, then he wanted nothing to do with her, and then when she approached him again, the first time he ever met his son, he injected him with something. We still don't know what it is, but it caused necrosis. His tissue at that point died, and that was 2 weeks before he allegedly murdered his son and Grizelda. So that would be 2 weeks later, luring them. They're saying, okay, no, bring him to me before you take him to the doctor. Let me see first. You see. he was acting all concerned, like, oh my word, is he okay? Like, do you want me to check it? Bring him to me. I'll check him out before you take him to the doctor. I want to spend time with my son. Never ever doubt how much influence a coercive controller type can have, over one's mind. So we can't just be like, why would she do it? Why would she go there? His tactics and everything he did, the way that we hear so far, just how he was, seems like, she didn't know what she was walking into that day. Who would? Who would think that's what I'm walking into? But her sister had some red flags, and I hope she does not blame herself, because she's like, I don't think it's a good idea to meet up with him. And she said, is it in a public place? Yes, in a public place, in a park. Once she was at the Father McNaboe Park, he lured her to a more isolated area of the park, where he knew the sensors were not working at the time, because they were clearing some of the reeds or the riverbeds. They were clearing it, and had removed the sensors in the area where he lured her to at the time. Brian W., he's the classic F-boy, right? He's the classic F-boy. Well, I think he's actually a wannabe F-boy, but I get what you're saying. I know what you mean. Okay, so quickly here. Let's quickly do some map time. Okay, we're back. Okay, so let's just, I've got this map going here. Alright. So, I hope they don't come back now. Can they just give us 5 more minutes, please? Right? Let's make it bigger. Okay, so I'm going to make it nice and big for you like this if I can. We could take this border off. And we'll get this all going again. Wait, go, quickly. Like this. There we go. Okay, map time, map time. It helps. Now, you guys know I like to orientate everything northward. Right now it's not orientated northward. I'm orientating it the way that they showed it in court so that you can see what they meant. And I use this as my landmark so that I can understand what the hell, where are we? I was trying to figure it. When you see me glancing to the side like this, I'm like, where? Like orientating the map all around to just make sure. Where is everything, right? So he asked Grizelda to meet him at this Father Charles McNaboe Park, and she parked around here by this baseball field. And so Agent Dennis noticed her car that morning around 9ish, she said, because she parked sideways, right? Not like in a parking area. She parked this way. I don't know exactly where. They actually showed somewhere at some point, but sideways, right? And so the thing is, that is where they're supposed to meet, which is a public place. There's even like a play area and everything around it. It's a well-known park. Grizelda knew the park since childhood, is what her sister said. Then, the thing is, he lured her somehow. He said, come and just walk down with the stroller, baby in the stroller and all, walk down the path and come and meet me down here. Now, I don't know if he would have, that's why I want to see the Facebook messages or whatever. Maybe he sent a location pin. Huh? That would be so interesting if he sent a location pin. So she started walking, and they did say there were cameras where she started walking with that stroller towards that area. So we haven't seen that yet. Well, let's say she's walking, right? Now, the thing is, the data points that the witness today, Elizabeth Stevens, had read out are these that are plotted out. One was A, one was B, and then this is what the agent has just showed, the police officer, where the bodies were. So I'm thinking, I'm not too sure what this point here is about, because his walkie-talkie was at some point here, is what I'm saying. So I think that was afterwards. I think the timing was afterwards. Yes, that's why I said B. So that was later. So I don't know if he parked his truck around here and then walked himself or what the hell he was doing, but the point is, one of the data points is here. So he could have been waiting in these bushes here. Okay? And so the thing is, where the bodies were found, you could see the river is over here. Normally it would be the other way around because the map isn't orientated north now. I'll orientate it north afterwards if I have time. But this is the island they keep talking about. You could see the shape of it and how they keep pointing at this, where Grizelda's body was, and then they just walked a short distance down, and then Dominique's body. So you can see it's a bit of a dirt path here. So this point could be I don't know, slightly off. He could have been a little closer to there. I'm not sure. I'm just plotting exactly what they showed us there, okay? But this is where it happened. And we saw photos today of the blood on the ground. Yeah, that was hectic. And Grizelda's body was facing eastward. So that's where that was. And then they also showed us, let me just show you quickly here. Now I'm going to have to orientate myself northward. Wait. North, please. Thank you. Otherwise we don't know where the hell we are. So now we're facing north, okay? Now the map is facing, the north is up, south, west, east, as you're looking at it. Hope you guys, sorry, I'm not paying attention to your comments now because I'm just like in this watching for the time as well. Scarlett, it's always been map time. We even had merch for it at some stage. Map time. We do map time on this channel. We love maps. But simple maps like this. So we just all see what the hell, where, what, where, you know. Let's plot it out and see what's happening. Sarah Sunshine, unfortunately, was supposed to be a protector of people, and unfortunately, just like any business, they're not always good, which we have seen time and time again. Exactly. Thank you so much, Sarah Sunshine. So, if we're facing north now, you see, this is where it all happened, and I really still wonder. Firstly, I wonder if you threw the weapon in here, and if anyone has been magnet fishing here, or what. I'm sure it's quite a sizable area to search, but still, I wonder. Or, you know, what's happening over here? I'm sure they've searched everywhere. They've not found the murder weapon. So there's that. Also, when he went home, which we looked at where that was yesterday, home was about... So here's the Laredo North Border Patrol Station. Pedrosa Avenue was it's somewhere in here. We looked at it yesterday. I don't want to put it on there right now again. I just want to show you this. Kimberly Davis, thank you so much for your $3 super chat. Oh, yeah. Jan says that would be where his vehicle was parked. Thank you so much, Kimberly. So where that bridge is, this is that World Trade Center bridge. And he was actually driving, I believe it's these paths, somewhere around these back roads like this, to get to that area. Could have even been around here. But the back roads where Agent Dennison saw him driving really fast. He was like, it's rock, it's gravel. It's like, what is he doing? Why is he driving so fast? And he asked him, what are you doing? And he said, just exploring. He's just exploring. And when he was out in this area, because he went home, so he was here. The murders happened between, initially they said between 9:55 and 10 a.m., but they broadened it a bit, you know, since in the trial saying 9:46 a.m. to 10:10 a.m. Somewhere between there is where the murders happened. Then he went home, wearing shorts and tennis shoes, and showered. And changed. Well, we don't know that he showered, but he changed. He changed into his uniform and came back to the scene, racing down like that where Agent Dennison saw him. Agent Lara was here actually in this sort of area training someone. He'd actually gone into one of these gates that we saw here. The gate was open, which was normally closed, and he's like, huh, that's weird. So he went in there. He was training another officer, another Border Patrol agent, and he was a field training officer, Agent Lara, the one that was very emotional yesterday, remember? And he went in here and he saw Burgos, and he's like, try to make conversation. He said he was very quiet, but odd. And he's like, okay. Then Burgos said to him, do you know if there's an exit there? Like, you know, he asked him such weird questions, and then he's like, I don't know. He's like, I'm going to go that way. And when Agent Lara drove off for a bit, well, then Burgos got on the radio. So he probably drove Burgos down this way, right? And then... I mean, imagine if you went in the gate and saw him here. It's like, what are you doing? Anyway, so the point is, he went this way. This is after changing and being home. And he put over the Border Patrol radio, that walkie-talkie, that he found a woman who was injured, an injured woman. That's what he first said. So, Agent Lara was like, what? He went there. And we heard everything from yesterday. Okay, what happened there? But you could just see the data points that are here. Yes. So that's that. I wonder if I could... where's this Pedrosa Avenue? Wait. We just go Pedrosa. That one. Okay. We can see where his home is. They're coming back. Pedrosa Street. Quickly. Add it to the project. Here's home. That's where he went home. Okay, court's coming back. So, I'm going to take this off quickly. speaking so softly? Sir? Okay, here we go. We're gonna do it now. There he is. I hope that was helpful. Now I'll go look at your comments. I didn't see many of them. I was like, go. Okay, it's very soft, the sound. I don't know. They're not really talking. But anyway. Please rise for the jury. That's all we heard so far. So, welcome to... What do we call this? It's almost like brunch time. Like, it's... What's the time now in Texas? It's 11:34. You see, that wasn't 10 minutes, but we appreciate it. We got to do some map time. Emily says it might appear that Grizelda tried to run. That's a road, and anyone could have been there and witnessed Anthony there at the time. He lured her into an ambush. Thank you. Michelle says, love your mapping. You always rock it. Tell Mr. Grizz thanks also. Why are they so soft now?
The officer, Benavides.
Okay. We hear you now. Thank you.
Good morning, sir. You've been sworn in us?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Please have a seat right over here.
That was damn loud. That was loud.
Pull up your chair to the mic, and we'll get started.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'll just ask you to speak into the mic loud and clear so the court reporter can pick up your testimony, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Please state your name for the record.
Gilberto Benavides.
Okay, and how are you employed?
I am a sergeant with the Laredo Police Department.
And how long have you been a police officer?
20 years with the city of Laredo and 4 years prior with the Webb County Sheriff, so 24 together.
That you've been a licensed peace officer for 24 years?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, were you employed with Laredo Police Department on April the 9th of 2018?
Yes, sir, I was.
Okay. Were you on shift that day?
Yes, sir, I was.
And do you recall that day?
Yes, I do.
Do you recall being dispatched out to Father McNaboe Park on that day?
Yes, sir, I responded as a call came in.
Do you guys catch the name? Is it Gilberto Benavides?
Okay, so tell me the nature of your call that morning.
So I heard over the radio, approximately about 11:30 in the morning, dispatch was dispatching EMS and police to the dead end of Bristol and Allen for an injured person, a female with lacerations to the head, is what I heard on the initial call.
Okay, and as part of dispatch, does Laredo Police Department maintain business records regarding the activity of who responded and who was there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, may I approach the witness?
You may.
I have a list
I'm going to
here.
show you what's been marked as states.
So I can see the spelling once I have the general name. Benavides.
To examine.
Benavides. Benavides, yeah. Okay.
Do you recognize what's in this document?
Yes.
What's contained?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do they fairly and accurately depict the records maintained by the police department?
Yes, sir.
On that morning?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Admitted, without objection.
Thank you. We may make reference to this during your testimony,
I'll be right back.
and I'll ask you to
Thank you.
refer to that. Do you remember your call sign?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what is your call sign?
6018.
Okay. Do you remember what, are you able to determine what time the call came in?
Date time received was 4918 at 11:33 a.m.
At 11:30. So that's when you yourself head over there?
Yes, that's when I hear the call and I start making my way over there.
Okay. Now, tell the ladies and gentlemen jury where you responded to and the route that you took.
Okay. So as I'm hearing the radio, I'm monitoring it. Eventually, it's broadcast over the radio that the person is deceased at scene, so that I definitely need to respond to there, right, as part of my duties. So I make my way down Bristol to Allen towards the dead end, and I park my unit close to that open gate on Bristol and Allen.
Now, let me ask you, at that point in time, how many years were you on PD with PD?
I want to say approximately 18 years.
Okay, and you were a detective?
Yes, correct.
And assigned to what unit at that time?
I was assigned to the Capers, or Crimes Against Persons Division.
And what type of crimes do they investigate?
We investigate anything that involves crime against a person, so assaults, homicide, robbery, that type of nature of calls and reports.
Ms. Rollins, can you please use the microphone?
Yes. Okay, so then continue on with you arriving, you said, on Bristol.
So I arrive at the dead end of Bristol and Allen. That is what we considered almost the river banks, right? We know that beyond that gate, it's all dirt and brush, and beyond that, it's the river, the international Rio Grande River. I noticed that there's a gate there open. I meet up with Officer Cortez, who's by his unit, parked similar to where I arrived. And he tells me that he's picking up voluntary statement forms and that he's going to take them back down towards where the crime scene was, and I followed him.
Do you make it to the crime scene?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, what, if anything, do you see arriving at the crime scene?
So it's a dirt road, and it's kind of hard to get in there, so we have to walk. Unless you have a truck or an ATV, you have to walk in there. So we make our way down the dirt road. It's a distance. On my right-hand side, I could see a clearing, which I consider, which is the soccer fields. I see some Border Patrol units on my right-hand side. I continue walking towards where the road splits up into a Y. On the left-hand side, I can see 2 Border Patrol units. I can see officers. I can see Border Patrol agents talking.
Okay. Now, when you do arrive, what else do you see?
So
What do you do?
As I approach the Border Patrol units and the cluster of officers and agents there, I can see Investigator Ray Garcia talking to some Border Patrol agents. I believe he's taking statements or IDing them. Someone points out towards the direction where the body was, or the victim. And I can see from a short distance from where the Border Patrol trucks were parked, I can see the victim laying across the road.
Okay. Your Honor, may you step down so you can make reference to the map? Go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to put on the mic.
Lapel mic time.
Just clip it to your tie.
So interesting that you could only enter that area with a truck or an ATV. I mean, I would think that the defendant also used that to his advantage, right?
Okay. So we can give the jury a visual. Speak loud and clear. You gain access to
Okay.
see.
So again, when I arrive, it's the dead end of Bristol. Too close to this mic. I walk. This is the dirt road that I mentioned. It's a long ways walk. I can see the soccer field here. I can see the Border Patrol.
Mr. Alexander, a minute ago, there was a juror that was having trouble seeing you. So can you, is there any way you can just continue to do it from this angle here? Only because I know there's a juror there on the left, very, very far right-hand side that has trouble when the officer is pointing things out. Thank you.
Is that okay right here?
As long as all the jurors can see.
Everybody see?
Don't worry about me. I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about the juror.
Yes. So, again, continuing, I arrive here, I walk down the road, Border Patrol, two trucks or Border Patrol units here. I can see them from here as I'm walking. This is where I say the road breaks into a kind of a Y. I'm led down here. This is where I can see the two Border Patrol agents. This is where I run into the cluster of officers.
Now you know where it is.
I've got a close up. This is, you're testifying from 100. I'm going to now pick up a little more of a zoomed in map on 101. Okay?
Again, the Border Patrol units here, two units. I can see off from where I was standing the body of our victim from here.
Okay. What else did
Okay,
you
there we
do
go.
next?
As I'm arriving, I can see the victim. I can see that officers are establishing a crime scene. Based on what I see and how I find the victim, I decide that we need a bigger crime scene. So I start giving instructions to move our crime scene further out into the north side. Correction, to the south side and around the trucks.
So you set up a perimeter.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and after you set up a perimeter, are you able to identify if any other victims were found?
So as I'm setting up the perimeter and not long from when I arrive, an agent calls out that they find a second body of a baby.
Okay.
Okay. And what do you do at this point?
At this point, I want to, again, because from where I'm at, I can't see where the baby was, right? So I need to get to where he's calling out from. So without walking on the dirt road and the evidence on the dirt road, I go through the brush line and I get to where Agent Dennison was with the baby.
And do you in fact see a deceased baby?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
You said you identified a female.
Correct.
Can you describe the scene around the female, what you saw?
Yeah, the victim, she was, like I said, she was laying across the road. She was facing away from where I was, so she was facing this way. From where I was standing, I could see that she was completely covered in blood. Her hair, her body, her arms. She was wearing a sleeve without, a blouse without sleeves, so I can see a lot of blood around her. The dirt all around her was completely covered in blood.
Let's go on a question and answer basis, please.
Okay, so there's a lot of blood.
Yes.
What's the mic doing now?
You find the baby, Dennison finds the baby.
Correct.
Is there any other evidence that is found after the baby is found?
So as I'm walking towards where the baby was, I can see a lot of evidence along the road. I could see blood on rocks, blood on the sticks that were there, blood on debris. I can see the blood in the trail where it was leading to the baby.
An approximate distance of the blood trail from where the body lied.
Again, I couldn't see the baby, but afterwards I would say it's 20, 25 yards from where the baby and the body was.
that's a blood trail.
No.
Or blood splat. What do you
Blood.
see? What do you see?
I see blood spatter. I see droplets, some bigger than others, but it leads to that area over here where.
Okay, what is that? As a homicide detective, what does that tell you, if anything?
It tells me that there was blood transfer from the victim, from way back here to where we can see the blood all the way to where she was laying.
So she moved from.
She moved from one point to the other as when she had blood on her.
Oh my word. Okay.
After the baby's found, is there any evidence found on the east side of the?
Yes. So from where I'm at with the baby, officers again are establishing the crime scene, and they call out that they find a baby stroller. So I look in the direction where the officers were pointing out the stroller.
Okay, and what was, if you can, did you see the stroller?
Yes.
Okay, and please describe the condition of the stroller.
So where I'm standing with baby Dominic, I can see that the stroller is directly across from where he's at, across from the dirt road. It was a black and gray stroller. It was on its side, directly across from baby Dominic's.
Okay, how far from the road was the stroller?
Maybe 15, 20 feet from the road to inside or towards the brush.
And do you remember the condition of the stroller?
Yes, it was on its side. It was obvious to me. It was obvious to me that that stroller was thrown in there because of the vegetation, the brush. It was high. There's no way that stroller could have been rolling there, so someone grabbed it and threw it into the brush.
Okay, so I'm
Really
gonna
chucked it. Wow.
show you now State's Exhibit 39. You can help me. She can come in. The officer, we need the stroller.
Well, they're bringing the stroller in. We were saying yesterday we might see it. Oh man, it was a picture. It's a picture. Oh no, it's the actual stroller. Low-key. Says, was fingerprints on the stroller. Interesting.
Mark State's Exhibit 39. Okay, I'm gonna open it.
Okay, the gloves are coming out. We're gonna show the stroller. Man, I feel so sorry for the family who's there.
Can you help me open this?
Yes, sir.
If you want to share some of the Purple Hearts or the white ribbons or the Yoda for the family, please do. The family is wearing purple in court, apparently, according to an article we read earlier today. So now we're also sharing the Purple Hearts to show them we got their back, we got their back. I will turn it down for you. You guys, because damn.
This is State's Exhibit 39. Move to introduce State's Exhibit 39.
No objection, Your Honor.
Admitted. Okay. Without objection.
Try to open
Eduardo's not going to object. Thank you for the purple hearts.
Put it up higher on your, a little bit there. Thank you.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen, jury, what's in front of you here.
It's the stroller that I saw that day.
And this was the stroller that was thrown.
Yes, it was thrown directly across from where baby Dominic was.
Yeah.
How many wheels does this stroller have?
It has 4 wheels.
Okay. Based on seeing the stroller, what, if anything, did you do next?
So based on what we had there in front of us, and once I noticed that the stroller was there, I noticed some tire marks or impressions from the stroller all along that dirt road. I noticed that because of how the wheels are set up now, I can see that on the dirt that it was leaving impressions of 2 wheels, and that's what I noticed.
And when you see those impressions, what, if anything, were you going to do when you saw those impressions?
I knew that from where we were at, there was no way. Someone had to walk from there, and she had to walk from somewhere, so I decided that I was going to follow those impressions on the dirt to see if I could get to where the car, or at least to where they started from.
Okay, have a seat.
Thank you.
Tracy says, Court, we respectfully ask that you have witnesses spell their names. Thank you. I know, right? That would be so
I'm
helpful.
going to show you now what's being marked. State's exhibit. Do you have a seat?
I'm just going to turn off this mic real quick.
Just leave it on just in case. Just turn it off and do it.
Is this his, was that his sad face?
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 117. 138. 139. I'm going to show you 140. 141. 143. And 144. Do you recognize the images depicted in these photos?
Yes, I do.
Do they fairly and accurately depict what you saw there on April the 9th of
Stroller?
2018?
Yes, they
Have
do.
been altered in any way?
No.
Eduardo's looking. Just remember, you guys, he was Grizelda had borrowed that stroller because little Dominic could not walk after his father, the defendant, allegedly injected his leg with something. He was in severe pain from that day, from March 25th. So he didn't really need the stroller anymore, but she asked her, I think it was her cousin or her sister, I think it was her cousin, could I borrow your stroller? Because he wasn't able to walk anymore.
We move to introduce State's Exhibits 144, 143, 141, 140, 139, and 138.
They were admitted.
Okay. Okay. So you told the ladies and the jury that you proceeded to follow the stroller marks.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm going to show you what State's Exhibit 141. Ask if you could identify what you see in this photo.
Yes, I can see the double markings or impressions from the stroller on the dirt that I followed that day.
Are you able to identify what's up here?
It's our victim.
The stroller mark, the victim is laying on the stroller marks.
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay. And you testified that the distance from the victim to the point where the stroller marks found or where the stroller was found was how much distance?
Approximately 20 to 25 yards, I can imagine.
Okay. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 140.
Yes, again, with the stroller marks, you can see the double lines on both sides. It's along the dirt road.
Were you able to conclude where the stroller marks stopped?
Yes.
On that road?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 117.
25 yards is 22 meters, for those wondering, if you would.
So here,
in meters?
where the stick is in the rock, on one side, it's baby Dominic.
Okay, so if you're standing looking south, if you can give the jury that perspective, what are we seeing here?
So if I'm standing facing south, here are these tire markings where, to me, it looks like that it was moved from side to side or it changed direction. You can see that south there is no more, right, tire marks. And towards my left, if I'm facing south, it would be Dominic's body, and to my right,
very dark picture.
it would be the stroller.
So the movement of the wheels left and right is where it stopped.
Yes.
And the stroller was then found to the left.
Yes.
And baby Dominic to the right.
Yes. If I'm facing the markings, yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you, and you also testified as to the approximate distance. I'm going to show you what's been previously admitted. State's Exhibit 147. This is an aerial view. Can you identify?
Oh, wow, okay. Right, I'll move down.
Yes.
What's in this?
So up here, if I'm looking at it, to my right would be the stroller, and up here on top of the screen would be the victim.
Okay, so I'm going to point. If this is accurate right here,
Yes.
that would be the stroller.
Yes.
And down here is the victim.
Yes.
And in between the victim and the stroller is between 20 to 25 yards of distance.
Approximately.
Okay. To the north, what is to the north of the victim on the trail?
To the north would be the Father McNaboe Park.
But I'm saying immediately adjacent to that, the trail coming out of that brushy area.
It would be the dirt road with the same tire impressions that I followed.
Okay, I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 139. What perspective do we have here?
Again, it's the double tire mark impressions from the dirt road. So if I'm looking at this picture, the crime scene or where Grizelda and Dominic would be behind it or towards the end, and then it's going towards the direction of, the picture was taken in the direction towards Father McNaboe, well, to the soccer fields that I called out in the map.
So, which way are we looking here?
It would be from south to north.
So we're looking north?
Yes.
Okay. And the soccer fields are located there?
Yes.
Okay. You said the stroller marks continue outside that trail?
Yes, correct.
And where, if anywhere, do they lead you?
From here, from this picture, they lead me to a soccer field.
Okay. I'm going to show you 143. You recognize this photo?
Yes.
Okay, and what do we see here?
So again, it's the soccer field that I described, and you see the tire impressions here on the dirt.
Yes, from walking that way. Thank you, M. Lebrecht. It's very hard to see again.
These
huh?
stroller marks around the soccer field, where do they lead to?
Eventually, if we're looking at this picture here, right, it kind of changes direction a little bit because I'm walking from a trail that leads this way, and then it goes, I guess, east for a little bit behind these poles or the goal post, and it changes at the end of this picture. The second goal post, they go. If I'm following, right? 'Cause I'm following actually in the direction these pictures were taken from. It turns left into an open gate, the dead end of Loring.
Okay. And as part of your homicide investigation, did you video what was seen here as the stroller marks?
Yes, a video was taken of the entire scene there.
Okay. Of specifically the stroller mark trail?
Yes, correct.
I'm going to show you what's been
Yep.
marked as State's Exhibit 478. You recognize
Yes,
this USB?
yes, sir.
Have you, you know what's contained within here?
Yes,
And what's contained within?
it's on-scene crime scene video of the trail and the markings that were recorded that day.
Not of the bodies, just of the trails. Is that right?
Yes.
And did you initial this, Detective?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And are we moved to introduce 478? Which one was it? 478.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you, Casey Cat.
Admitted.
This video,
USB
this
time.
video is less than what? Less than 4 or 5 minutes long?
It's a series of videos. I don't remember how many exactly are in there, but and they're all minutes long.
Okay.
It's segmented.
So what number was that again?
478.
478, does it have files within 478? 478.1 to what?
Should be 15 videos, short videos contained within
15? So
Yes.
40, so 478.1 through 478.15 should be the sub-files in that thumb drive, which is 478. All right, very well. And that's a description on it, Mr. Benyat, and hearing the full description that's in it, any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
Very well.
As part of one of the...
So when you play it, just make sure if you do play it, whichever ones you're going to play, that you describe which file is within 478 that we're playing.
Now, as part of your investigation, did you have a drone video done of the crime scene?
There was drone footage filmed that day, but in particular in those, they were done with a video camera by forensics.
But my question is, was drone footage also done
Yes.
in the area? And I'm not saying
Okay.
that there was drone footage of the stroller marks. That was done with a video camera
Correct.
on the ground.
Yes.
And the drone footage is flown over the
Yes.
entire crime scene.
Mr. Boggs
And
is
that's
not
also
loving
in
this.
here.
He's already preparing something.
Or you haven't seen that?
No, I have not seen the drone.
Okay. We'll publish the stroller mark video.
wonder if they're going to show us. Probably. I'm trying to see what they're looking at on the screen here. Are they showing it? Not yet? Ah, the sound of the USB getting ready to show video. 15 videos. Damn. Daniel says Boggs is super sus. Anthony Burgos is 33 years old now. He was 28 at the time of the crime.
16 miniature videos on this.
478.1 through 478.16. And the labels inside the 478 thumb drive exhibit, in fact, label them as Stakes Exhibit 478.1 through 478.16. So we're going to actually call them, instead of files, Stakes Exhibits 478.1 through 478.16. Mr. Pena.
No objections, Ron.
Very well. And that'll be the way they are admitted. They are found within Exhibit 478. Stakes Exhibit 478. Thank you. It's being played, sir. Ms. Brennan.
Excuse me.
It's being played.
Okay, this is now 478.1. Now, there's no audio on this, correct?
Correct.
Okay, can you tell the jury what
Okay,
they're
good to know.
seeing?
No audio.
This is scene or footage that was recorded during the process of the crime scene or the collection of evidence. So these are the goalposts that I can describe from that picture. Again, I walked from the opposite direction, right? If you can picture that, I walked from the crime scene that led me to this gate where I say that at the end of this gate, open gate here is the dead end of Loring. Again, this is paved road or blacktop, but over here on this side behind the poles or the goal poles, you can see the dirt and you can see the tire impressions that I spoke about or we see in the picture.
And just for the record, when you say Laurie, that's Laurie, L-O-W-R-Y, right, Laurie?
Correct.
Oh yes, okay, the road, Lowry Road. Thank you so much, Dolly B. It's actually quite scary to look at the walk, because she would have walked there to meet him. Like this. Becky G's like, Grizelda was 27 at the... Yeah, a lot of information on the top of the screen, a lot of information in the description box. If you just want to quickly read through, there's about 1,000 new people watching today, so welcome. Hope you'll catch up on the other days. 1.5 speed timestamps for you. Showing us some video exhibits now. Yeah, so Laura says he really made her walk a long way, right? I understood.
We're playing which one?
478.2.
Thank you.
Now, do you tell the jury what they're seeing or what you can identify, if anything?
So what the recording here is that dirt road behind the goalpost that we saw in the pictures. So we moved up a little bit, and now you're going to see the actual dirt road. And this is where I could see the double markings from the stroller, the tire impressions.
Leading to where?
This is leading towards the crime scene, towards where the bodies were found, the victims.
It was a 1/4 mile walk, if you guys are wondering.
And
As the
just
crow
close-ups
flies.
again from the tire markings on the dirt. And you can see how they lead all the way down toward where that paved road is, or the paved trail.
And the parade trail leads where?
Again, it leads back towards where we found the victims and the Border Patrol units.
Okay. How did you work following the stroller marks? What was your strategy in working the stroller marks?
Again, from when I saw the stroller, the victims, I knew that they came from somewhere. Familiar with the area, I know that people, for the most part, park at the parking lot at Father McNaboe and then walk towards those directions. So I followed those trails again, trying to stay off the dirt and on the grass. I followed them.
Right. We can pause that. So you have the stroller marks from the crime scene working north, is what you described,
Correct.
back to the trail.
Yes.
And what course of action, if any, do you take when you're on that trail?
That trail, all along towards we get to Loring where there is no more dirt, takes me, I follow the trail and it takes me to the parking lot of Father McNaboe.
Okay. Your Honor, if you may step down so you can show the jury.
Oh, he's looking so amused.
Here on State's Exhibit 97, turn on your mic and show the jury where you followed the trail back to where you said the parking lot was.
Yes, so here, Grizelda Dominic, I follow right all through here, over the Border Patrol units. I go down here. This is where you see some of the pictures that were taken. I go around this island, the marks go around this island, come out through here.
Thank you, cameraman.
Again, this is a soccer field. The goal post would be back here, and the recording again was what we saw was from here coming this way. I was doing the opposite direction when I initially walked. I walked past the goal post on this side and down to Lowry, where this gate was, and here is where I described that there is no more dirt road.
Okay, so what do you do next?
I'm familiar with the area, right? So I just continue following the paved walking trail that leads me to the main parking lots of Father McNaboe Park.
What, if anything, do you see when you arrive at the parking lot?
So when I get to the parking lot, there's already units and officers with a white Mercedes there, parked here along this side here.
Okay, thank you. Have a seat. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 107.
Okay.
Need to switch it.
I'm agreeing with Red Grass 1 that there's no right to call her a mistress because she didn't know she was a mistress. She wasn't like signing up to date a married guy. She didn't know he was married. She thought he was separated. That's what he told her.
Just the white Mercedes you saw that
And-
morning?
Yes.
When she got pregnant, he's like, okay, bye. That's the car she
What do we
borrowed
see
from her
here?
sister.
A
That's her
108?
sister's car.
It's the white Mercedes where it was parked, where we found it.
Okay. And 109?
It's a different angle, but the same white Mercedes where it was parked.
And what's this behind it? This field?
It's a field that they used for practices, baseball, soccer. Right over here towards, if you're looking at the picture from standing behind it, it would be a baseball park and then some extra parks to practice.
Okay.
But now it's parked this way.
So as detective, what, if anything, do you do next that you, or let me ask you, do you approach the car?
Yes, sir, I approach.
Okay, tell us what, if anything, do you do when you approach the car?
I approach the car and I look inside the vehicle. And I could see a Chick-fil-A bag in the middle console, and then the car seat in the back.
Okay. What else do you do, if anything?
The car seat plus the stroller, it gets me thinking that we have a possible vehicle. So I run the plates.
You run the plates.
Yes, the license plates, the Texas license plates.
Okay. And what do you find from that?
At that point, we find a registered owner,
Exactly. Not sideways,
And
but
who
over
was
the
the
line.
registered owner?
Angelica Hernandez.
Okay. And what do you do with that information?
Along with the name, we got the address to the registered owner, which was 11411 Sierra Gorda. And I proceed to the location.
Okay. And what, if anything, happens when you get to the location? Or how far was that from Father McNaboe Park?
It was within the same area. If we're familiar with the Mines Road area, it was right along Faskin, which is less than 5 minutes from where we were at Father McNaboe Park.
Okay, so you get to this house in less than 5 minutes.
Correct.
And
So
what
close.
happens next?
There's no cars on the driveway, but I proceed to knock. And I see that the doorbell is one of those doorbells where you can communicate with someone who's not home, and I ring the doorbell.
Okay. And what happens?
I make contact with a female, and I identify myself. She identifies herself as a registered owner, Angelica, and I explain to her what I'm doing there.
What do you explain?
At this point in time, I was following up a lead on the vehicle. So I explained to her that I'm trying to find out who was driving that vehicle and if they knew where that vehicle was.
Sure.
Okay. What information do you... Are you talking to her on the phone? Are you talking to her through the doorbell? Or please take us step by step.
Okay, so the initial contact over the phone, or over the doorbell, was through doorbell and me and her talking. I can't remember if she asked me or I asked her to call over the cell phone, but we transferred over to me on the cell phone talking to her. And again, I explained to her what I'm doing there. And then immediately I get a sense of urgency from her because she tells me that her sister, Grizelda Hernandez,
Okay. You're talking to her, correct?
correct.
The prosecution's asking
and walk us
questions
through
now.
this carefully. You're advising her about her vehicle being found?
Correct.
Okay. And what specifically do you advise her about her vehicle being found?
I explained to her that we were investigating an abandoned vehicle call, or a vehicle, and we were following up. At that point in time, I don't tell her about what we found or what my initial findings were.
Okay, and you said that on the other line you sensed urgency.
So, yes, correct.
Yes. You said that you sensed urgency. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
During the time you were there, did she ever arrive?
Yes.
Who arrived?
Grizelda.
No. Who arrived at Angelica's house?
Angelica, and then short time, I can't remember if it was mom or her before, but yeah, the family.
Okay. By the time they arrive at her
Prosecution.
house, what is their emotional state?
When we make contact or when we meet face to face, again, she's concerned because I learned that Grizelda hadn't answered for hours. So when we meet, she realizes, or I realize, that I'm wearing a lanyard.
And what does that lanyard say?
That's how we identify ourselves. It says Laredo homicide on it. I believe when she reads that homicide is where she went frantic. I think she knew.
Well, all right, just say what you know, sir.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, and I'll ask you, when you see her look at your lanyard,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
Do you observe her demeanor at that moment?
Yes.
And what is that demeanor?
Fear. And then she questions me.
She's scared.
Correct, yes.
In the moment that she's scared,
Okay, can approach that.
Oh boy, here we go. See? I told you. They're definitely Mr. Boggs, the defense attorney's like, nope. That's it. He cannot, they're going to say, we know already, that he cannot say the demeanor of Angelica. That's what the defense will say. That he's leading the witness and all of that. We've heard it many times here before in this trial. Okay, so I just really want to see. Yes, thank you. Everyone's sending me, thank you so much, pictures of, of Grizelda and Dominic. There's about 3 pictures online in total that we've shown. So, yes. So, thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. I see there's lots of new people here today. I hope that you will watch at least the full trial prep. That will help a lot just to get the whole story. And then day 1 and 2, day 1 opening statements, day 1 and 2 is all time stamped for you. So you don't have to feel overwhelmed by like, oh no, it's like 3 or 4 hours long each one. Because it's time stamped for you. You can just skip to parts that you want to see, or see the map time, or see when there was a recap or something, or the witnesses, just to get a general overview of, well, where we're at right now. I've also pinned a comment for questions that get asked over and over and over again during the stream. Questions are valid, but yeah, been answered many times. Thank you so much to everyone that also helps to answer the questions when I can't, when we're listening. Really appreciate it. And thank you, mods. You're working hard. Thank you so much for everything you do. We do not victim blame here on this channel, so we are not going to be doing that. And I thank you to all the Grizzlies reminding everyone about the community standard that we keep here. Thank you for sharing purple hearts, the baby Yoda, and the white ribbons to show support for their family and friends of the victims. And so, let's see. Wait, what is the time in Texas now? Texas time right now is 12:26 p.m. I'm sure that the judge is going to get hangry soon. Yesterday's like, let's hope there's a lunch. That's an hour 15 at least. So they did say they're not breaking at 12, and I would assume it's because of, they know the time of the videos and the witnesses. So I'm not sure what time they're having lunch today. We shall see. It's a mystery, said best true crime channel on YouTube, and best mods. Right, amazing mods. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Janet says, we do know that she's out of Texas. We do know that. We're talking about Ronald Anthony Burgos-Aviles' wife, which we assume is ex-wife, but I don't know that for sure. But we do know that she has a lot of credentials, a kick-ass career. He was probably scared of her, which would add to the not wanting to pay child support, not wanting this situation, as he would see it, to affect his marriage or his job or anything like that. So there's that. And she also worked at Border Patrol, so there's that as well. But it seems like she moved to Florida, yes. Okay. Grady Plum says, how is he meant to explain it? The defense are running scared and grabbing at anything. They'll grab anything. So the judge is going to tell the prosecutor here, from what I can just gather, just from what I see, just don't ask the witness about how other people were behaving or what other people said. Just ask a question. What did you see? What happened then? What this and this? I'm sure that's what they're talking about now. We've seen it before. Yeah, Gerda says, no matter what your opinion, nobody deserves to be murdered like this, especially not an 18-month-old baby. No victim blaming. I guess a lot of people, they just cross the line to the victim blaming, but I get that everyone wants to understand so that, we can learn from these cases. We do want to learn from all the cases that we we cover, that we look at, right, as a community. For me, it would be that she did go to meet up with him in a public place. And she told her sister, yes, it's a public place. But the thing is, with these types of people, like the defendant, they have this little thing called charm, which is quite a red flag. And he may have charmed her. I don't know what he said. I'm waiting to hear. What did he say? How did he get her to walk and push a stroller on the road, on the dusty path like that? Even though some of the path is paved, as we saw from the map. How did he get her there? Like, my gut feel is saying he lured her there somewhere, like, come and look here, there's, I don't know, butterflies, or there's a picnic, or come and meet me over here where it's a bit quieter, or, you know, let's spend some quality time in nature, or something. There's something that he must have said to lure her away from a very public place with camera footage there. So, yes, that we can learn from that and just maintain your boundaries. It's a public place. I'm only meeting you in a public place. If he then tries to charm you, come here. No, you come here. We're meeting in a public place or else I'm going home. We can learn that, right? Yes. And remember, at the time, she didn't know that he was married, separated. So someone just now said, well, separated isn't single. Separated. He's ready to date some more, is what he's saying. But that wasn't true. He was actually married. With 2 kids. 2 kids of his own. He had a whole life right there in Laredo, Texas. And he didn't even say he lived there, so there's that as well. Cookie says, that's what I was saying, or asking, how did he get it to go so far? Right? So just remember that the question should always be to learn from, I would say, how did he get it to do that? What did he do? How did he coerce her into that situation? Instead of, why didn't she feel any gut feel? Why wasn't she safe? Why would she go there? You know what I mean? We could just turn the questions onto him because he is the defendant. He's the guy facing death penalty. He's the guy accused of murdering Grizelda and Dominic, murdering a mother and a child savagely. So let's try to understand, well, what the hell did he do? Because the more we identify that, the better our boundaries can become, the more safe we can become. It's so easy to be like, well, why would you? Because not every situation is different. But you see, we see patterns with perpetrators. We see a lot of patterns with perpetrators. And yeah, we learn a lot from that of like, oh, okay. And once you know, these are patterns. Doesn't it help you? Definitely helps me in life of just like, oh, damn. They're all still different, but they're the same. Same damn abusive patterns, you know? And especially, initially, he'd actually blocked her on social media. When she asked for child support, he blocked her. And then what he did was unblock her and say, okay, yeah, I want to meet my son. Don't forget about the blocking afterwards. So he blocked, which we look at his behavior. Discarded. No, thank you. I want nothing to do with you. I want nothing to do with my son. To then change that and charm, that's the deception we see so often, right? Van says, why don't you take the stand, Mr. Not Guilty? Man, I would love to see that. Oh, he's gonna go for lunch now.
Have you come back?
Yeah, told you. It's lunchtime now.
1:45, I'm making that. And we'll get started. Thank you. Remember that you're still under the instructions that I've given you throughout this entire.
Thankfully, we heard that.
Throughout this entire trial, so please comply with that. Thank you.
Okay, so they said 1:45. So right now it's 7:30 my time. So let me just check. Luckily, we heard that last little bit. Thank you, cameraman. If you're listening, thank you. Feels like the cameraman's listening a little bit here and there. Definitely helps out. Okay, so day 3. Let's just see the afternoon session quickly here. This will be at 7:30, 8:30, so 8:45. Okay, I'm gonna set it. Should I set it for 8:45? We can set it for 8:45. Yeah, no, I don't believe it's 8:45. I'm sure they're gonna be back at 9 p.m. my time. Sorry, I mean 1:45. They'll probably be back at 2ish, but we'll see. We'll monitor. Jean says, wow, there's a long walk. Can't wait till the defendant takes the Green Mile walk. Jean says, he probably said, I really want to be a father to him. That's my point. He would have even charmed her with that because that's what she wanted. Like, please, can you just... Don't you want to know your son? Don't you want to help support him? She'd already been through this with another son she had, a 6-year-old. And what we heard from her friend was that father wasn't in his son's life either. You see, so that's a vulnerability that this defendant, I would say, preyed on. Of like, oh yes, no, I want to. I would really like to be in his life. Come here, let me spend time with him. And the first time that he meets the baby, he injects the baby in the leg with something. We don't know what yet, as you can see in my pinned comment, okay? We don't know what yet. And if you do ask, don't worry, I'm not annoyed. It's just sometimes with these streams, the questions come up over and over and over again, like meaning, did his wife divorce him? We don't know for 100% fact. We don't know it. We want to know though. So if you are family and you are watching, you're just lurking, that's okay. Welcome. You're safe here. If you know information that we keep asking, please send it to me on email, grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. And then, if you are family and you have some more pictures of Grizelda and Dominic that we could share to honor them, to show people, many people watching here, more pictures of them, please send that to us as well. grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. Okay, so I've made that next stream public. Just hold on, I'm going to put the link. I'm going to say, here is the next stream. Here's the next stream, okay? If you're on Patreon, you already have the link. Patreon is excellent for notifications, in case you're concerned about notifications ever. Okay, so here's the next stream. There we go. Then, one more thing before I go. We're going to break for lunch. So we take a little break, walk around a bit, drink some water, okay, eat something. For me, it'll be dinner. Because, you know, I'm in the Netherlands. So let me quickly make this one lead to that one. Yes, Angela Bobangela says proper question to ask is, why did he choose to murder people? Yes, let's rather unpack his freaking psychology and his behavior. So often people ask, why did she do this? Or why did, you know, with the victim, I mean, you know. We should ask the other questions. Okay, hold on. This one should redirect to this one. Okay. We're good. Let's see. Angela says, learning not to victim shame on here will move to the rest of your life. True crime is making you a better person. Right? We've got a lot to learn. Yes, indeed. So, everyone, thank you so much. Van's like, don't go. I was just going to say, mods, thank you so much. Oh my word, the mods are working so hard. If you are an OG, an original Grizzly, if you've been here for a while, and you know how it works around here, you know how hard the mods are working. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's not because there's a lack of freedom of speech here. It's just common courtesy. We show the families of victims of crime courtesy, love, support, and we don't victim blame. So that's that. Okay. Interesting. I'm just checking what to say here. Emily's whimsical. I hope you'll check out the full trial prep. Do that in the break at 1.5 speed. But both Grizelda and the baby was stabbed. Yes. So now it's lunchtime in the court. Are you ready to go to the next stream? I will see you there. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. See you in the next stream. You saw it. You got it. Patreon. You got it. Okay. Bye.
Hi Grizzlies! You will now be redirected to the next stream. See you there!